we have so much diversity here, I can see, which is great. And I'm sure we will enjoy these 4 days together. We will learn from each other. And there's so much to share in this boot camp. So thank you once again for joining us. All right, thank you very much. We will kick it off formally. Thank you very much for joining today on the behalf of the Resolution Project, on the behalf of Center for Awareness, Training and Development. I welcome you all to the 4 days Enterprise Development Bootcamp. I'll come to why we started this and what is the history or the journey that you are here today with us, where you will be interacting with a lot of subject matter experts to help you how you can grow. I would say how you can start your enterprise, how you can sustain your enterprise, and how you can grow your enterprise. So there will be a lot of discussion revolving around these 3 aspects of the enterprise. But to tell you briefly, let me introduce myself. Azizullah Bangash. I had got the opportunity to work with the resolution, and of course I am a part of the resolution volunteers family, the guides family. I have been interacting with the resolution fellows for quite long time, and I worked there with the team back in 2018 and 2019. So you are here. So this story goes back to 2018 and 2019. And while working with the resolution project, I also lead Center for Awareness, Training and Development as a co-founder and CEO. And I have got the opportunity to have Danish Khan, who is a co-founder with me, and we both have been working for the past 1 decade. It has been 10 years that we are working together, trying to bring positive change in the community, locally, nationally, and internationally. The main reason we came up with this enterprise development bootcamp, and then it will be followed by 2 other boot camps that we will share the information later on after this boot camp. Remember, uh, we as a startup, we as an entrepreneur, we as a community leader, we as a person who wants to create an impact, there we do have the passion, we do have the skills, but with the experience and with the interaction with different fellows, so resolution team and we came together that we need to design, or we need to train fellows to know almost each and everything of the enterprise development, from the very basic phase of ideas creation and skills needed to how they can build a bigger enterprise that focuses on change and bringing impact. So that was one of the reasons we felt like that we need to design a process, design a program where resolution fellows come, they interact with the subject matter experts, they ask questions, subject matter experts share their information, knowledge, tools, concepts, information, skills, so that they have everything in their hand and they can take a great start, they can sustain their existing idea, and they can scale their venture, their idea, or the startup they're working on. So enterprise development bootcamp is majorly focused on, number one, to equip you with the skills which are very, very important for you as a community leader, as a startup, as a impact creator, to know the different concepts, different tools, knowledge, models that would help you, make your venture, your idea, such an idea or a venture which is not only desirable, which is not only feasible, in fact, it should be viable also. So if you combine these three words, feasibility, desirability, and viability, this what makes a venture, a business idea, a startup, a sustainable, where it grows, and at the same time it helps you create an impact, not only in terms of the social impact, but you can create, economic impact as well by generating employment opportunities in your region, whatever those employment opportunities are. So that is the reason, that is the basic purpose, that in these 4 days you will be interacting with different subject matter experts from Center for Awareness, Training and Development. You will be interacting with different experts from Deloitte International, who are very kind to us, and you would be understanding tools, techniques, and you will have discussions. So we have designed these 4 days to be highly engaging and highly interactive, where subject matter expert will come. They will share their knowledge, the models, the concepts with you. You will have the opportunity to interact with them through activities, through question answer sessions, so that you ask your mind, you ask whatever confusion is there. And by the end of this boot camp, 4 days boot camp, you would be able to understand the entire process of how you can, conceptualize a venture, develop an idea, implement it, make a venture, sustain it, and grow it. So this would give you an overview of everything that revolves around enterprise development and why it is important. Remember, only idea matters, but only idea doesn't matter. What matter is how you implement it. And the second important thing is your idea creating an impact? Is your idea solving problems for the people or not? Second, do you have the adequate resources, whether it is a human resource, it is financial resource, it is material, it is machine, whatever you consider. Do you have those resources or not? And importantly, what are the different steps you will be taking in order to launch your enterprise or module? So these are very, very important aspects that we will be discussing. And along with that, we'll be giving you some tools. For example, tools how you can create a business model, how you can create a business plan, how you can create a strategy to manage financial management is very important. So you will be having tools where you can manage your financial in a way that is efficient and that can bring productivity. And along with that, we will be giving you, by the end of this workshop, a module, enterprise development module, where you will have everything there that would guide you even after the training. Once we are done with the boot camp, so you will have a handbook in your hands. You can go there, you can refer to it, and whatever questions you have in any aspect of the enterprise, it could be regarding the business development, the marketing, the branding, the financial side, the idea creation side, everything will be available in that module, which we will be sharing by the end of this 4 days boot camp. In these 4 days, we have divided sessions. So every session would be 30 to 40 minutes, and then you will have the opportunity to interact with the subject matter expert for the next 10 to 15 minutes. Then we have designed some activities where we will interact, we will discuss. If you have a team members here, so you can sit with them, you can discuss those activities, so that you would be able to understand much of your enterprise and much of the things that are needed to help you grow your enterprise. And again, we will keep it interactive, and we want you to ask as many questions as you can, because we love questions. We want you to come up with a challenge. If you heard something today, go and process it, work on it, come tomorrow with questions. So we do have activities time, and our experts and I'll be here, so we would be able to address those questions. So I thank you once again for starting. Before I come to have a small interaction with you before the experts join us, I would like Danish, if Danish can share, because he knows the entire process, how we came up and why we designed this. So Danish, if you would like to share anything with us before we move on to our interaction.
Yeah, thank you very much, Aziz, for a great start. And personally, I'm very obliged and feel honored to be among such a great entrepreneurs from across, not only across Pakistan but across world. So as Aziz just mentioned that idea is not just a thing an entrepreneur should need. Uh, Bringing idea into application is very, very important. I and Aziz are the witness of creating a great change in entrepreneurial sector of Pakistan. And it's like connecting dots. And I'm sure we all are here to learn from each other. And this is the only story. This is the one story Aziz just has shared about our organization, Center for Awareness Training and Development. But I'm sure we have a lot of stories from you people, and we would be listening from you people how you have developed your ideas, what are the gaps you want to fill. And I'm sure we have a great panel of speakers, we have great panel of experts who will be joining uh, from across the world. And personally, I would also contribute in tomorrow's training session by taking one of the activity. But I would love to sit back and listen to other speakers as well, because what we believe, what I and Aziz believe, that learning is a thing that never stops. And especially when we have a great platform like this, we are in a boot camp when international speakers and international entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs are joining this session, are already in this session. So definitely I would definitely wish everyone a best of luck. And in between, I will be joining in my session, so definitely I will be sharing my insights on entrepreneurial sides of organizations and everything. But right now, for right now, I would give this opportunity to Aziz to facilitate the session, and I would rather stay silent and sit back and learn from you people. Thank you very much, Aziz.
Danish, thank you very much. And let's start with the very first question. I am sharing a link in the chat box. Please click on the sheet. You would be able to see Mitchell, are you here?
Yes.
Yeah, so I am unable to share my screen. If you can enable me.
Yeah, one moment.
Yep, sure. All right, so I shared a sheet with you, and let's mention two major challenges I remember when Danesh and we started, so we had so many challenges and we faced it for many years before we became, a company that is sustainable, or a company that is on growth. So I would like each one of you to mention at least two major challenges. Here, what are your two major challenges that you want to learn about it and resolve it after attending this 4 days entrepreneurial enterprise development boot camp? So I have shared this Jamboard. Let me show you here. So here it is. So this is interesting, and I would like you to post your comments here. How you can do is, here you can see this sticky note. Just click on the sticky note, write whatever you want to write, and save. That would appear. For example, our challenge are, attracting bigger contracts. So this is one of our challenge. So I posted it and I can place it anywhere here. So just post any two major challenges. I know you would be new to this, but this is very exciting. You can use it with your team as well. So just click on the sticky notes and put your comment there. If you want to edit it, just double click on it and you can edit this comment as well. Awesome, great. And you can also write a name with it so that we know who, if it is your challenge, then what is your venture. Either you can write your name or you can write the enterprise name. All right, awesome. Okay, we have fundraising and attracting grants, strategic planning and development, marketing. I'll be working on it. Okay, prototyping, creating minimum viable product. Awesome. There is a lot in this 4 days boot camp. There is a lot regarding prototyping, how you can come up with an idea. So we will be discussing this one by one. All right. We have many more to comment here. All right. Okay. Product and program development for girls. Startup challenges. All right. All right. Keep posting. Keep posting. We really need to hear more. Just put your comment here and then let's have our discussion on this, that how we can help you through these 4 days boot camp resolve these challenges. All right, awesome. Startup challenge. This looks great. All right, social media presence and marketing. Okay, Abraham is saying financial strategy and team building, reaching out to the right customers, team management. All right. Yeah, keep posting. Those who have not posted, keep posting. Let us see what challenges we face. Legal issues with the people we want to work on. Okay, awesome. So we will be having legal compliance session on the 4th day of the boot camp. So you would come to understand a lot of the legal challenges there. So you can prepare your question and our expert would be happy to answer. All right, awesome. Okay, then we have few new, which is project evaluation and assessment, marketing and fundraising, low commitment from other team members, how to improve communication and coordination. Awesome. All right. And can I can see here marketing and fundraising and also problem of low commitment from other team members. Uh, whose comment is this? If you can either raise your hand or if you can unmute yourself. Yep, marketing and fundraising and low commitment from the team members. Whose comment is this? Yeah, Daniel, can you can you unmute yourself? I have one quick question for you.
Yes.
Yeah, this is very interesting. The commitment from other team members. How did you realize, you know, that this is one of the issue that I need to sort it out? Like, where did you feel this? What happened that made you feel like, you know, my team member had a low commitment?
Okay, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Yep.
Yeah, you see, for us in our team, we are three.
All
I'm
right.
the founder and then two co-founders. So
All
you
right.
find one of the co-founders, whenever we maybe plan and make maybe like a program that we should meet and do this, she is always not there, and with no
All right.
valid reasons even. So it has been happening for several times. Even sometimes when you give some work to her to do this on behalf of the venture, I find she doesn't do them, and we have to come in and help. So it has really been a challenge to us, because it means we have to go and do what even she was supposed to do. So that is how we
All right.
identified that it is a challenge to us.
All right. And do you think, and what do you think, like when you were partnering with each other, so did you had any such discussion or any kind of things with your team members, or any kind of assessment? Because this is very important, right? We will be discussing this today as well, but just wanted to understand, like, did you have this conversation? Because I see here there are 4 and 5 comments where it's written that it's a team management, which is very important for any startup. You know, the team members you have and how they operate, or how they cooperate, or how they contribute.
Yeah, when we were starting the venture,
All
even
right.
during, first of all, from the application process,
Mm-hmm.
because I had the idea and shared with them, and they bought
All
the
right.
idea. But then also, apart from that, I first asked them whether they will be committed and they're willing to commit themselves and work for the
Mm-hmm.
venture. And
Mm-hmm.
they were also positive about it. And but then, since then, only two of us have been doing most of the work.
All
The
right.
other one has not been so active. I have always scheduled meetings. Sometimes I try to make sure that we get her into the meeting
All right.
physically, and she's always positive when talking. But then when it comes to the actual work, she does nothing. Like, she
Mm-hmm.
doesn't show up in most cases. And what bothers me most is without reasons, because at least if there are reasons as to why maybe she wasn't able to do something, it could be understandable. So
All right.
I really find it hard. I now don't know how to solve that particular problem, because I really don't know the challenge she's facing that is making her
Mm-hmm.
not to be active or not to do her part.
All right. No, I can relate to that, and this is one of the most challenging part. But I mean, everything has a solution. There, you will come to know a lot of techniques, and we do have an activity which is called skills assessment, right? So let's wait till then. We will have the skill assessment as well. But I just wanted to hear from you guys that what challenge you face, and now you can clearly see if you read this entire. So most of the challenges you face, it's common to the other ventures, it's common to the other startups. So that means that there are a lot of challenges which are common to the startups, and knowing about how you can resolve it, and then knowing the frameworks or strategies, it helps you bring more productivity to the to the venture. Yeah, Anna, your hand is raised. Yeah, you can go ahead if there's anything you want to share.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
In addition to what Daniel talked about,
Mm-hmm.
the issue of commitment, I think it's
Yeah.
a common challenge I am also facing as
So we are unable to hear you clearly. Your voice is coming from very far.
oh, what's happening? Are you getting me?
Yeah, I mean, we can hear you, but your voice comes from very far, so we hardly hear you.
Okay, I'm going to raise my voice.
Thank you for that.
That so the challenge is related to Daniel's lack of coordination and communication, and he talked about how he selected co-founders when we are doing this application. Sometimes
Mhm.
you have an idea that you're sharing with a friend, but as time
Yeah,
goes on, you find
yeah,
that
yeah.
you can't
Yeah, and
actually.
we still have problem hearing you.
Oh my God, what could be the problem? I am literally shouting.
So I mean, just check the mic. Maybe there is an issue with that, or you can post it in the chat box.
Okay, everything is okay. I don't know if you can get me right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was talking about the issue of the lack of coordination and commitment. So when you start a project with a friend, uh, most of the times they take
Mm-hmm.
things for granted because you are friends.
All
Like
right.
personally, I got to a point that when I told my fellow co-founder, let's separate friendship from business, and that actually became an issue. We are
Mm-hmm.
trying to work around that and start our project. We needed to make some changes, but it is being slowed down by the fact that we were friends, close friends. Now we don't talk because one of us is committed and the other
Mm-hmm.
one is taking things for granted. And if you try to tell them let's separate business from friendship and get
All
serious,
right.
they
So
get mad at you. So it's tough.
yeah, it's
But
tough.
I'm glad to be here. I think signing up for this boot camp is the best thing that is going to happen to our venture. I expect to live with the skills on how to live
Mm-hmm.
with that stuff.
Yeah. So Anna, thank you very much. And you will have a lot of things. So what I understood is that yes, when it comes to friendship and then starting a venture, and there comes a lot of things. So there are problems. And in this 4 days boot camp, you will come to understand different strategies, how you can cope up with this, right? And what is the best strategy that you can come up, and you can, work with your team members. Even like Danesh and I, we both were friends before we came and started a business together, or a startup together. So we were friends, but there are a lot of techniques that Danish will be sharing, I'll be sharing, that how it can work well for us. Mitchell, one quick question for you. Have the speaker joined us?
No, they're messaging him on their internal network. So we're seeing where he is now.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Awesome. So you will have a lot of things. Again, uh, my personal recommendation to you is, for these 4 days, this is a big investment for all of you. Don't lose this investment. Remember, for any startup, the best investment is to know the strategies, to to know to gain the knowledge and to understand the best practices that can help them become a greater entrepreneur and inspiring leader who can bring change. So these 4 days, I would say, is a big investment for all of you, that you come join us for these 4 hours, learn it, and whatever you learn, the next important step is how do you apply it? Because learning only matters and creates an impact when you go and you implement those techniques. Yes, I will share that in a while. I can share that, no problem. Give me a minute, I'll do it. Yes, anyone else who would like to share one of the major challenge you face and you don't find any solution, how you can resolve that challenge, so that it is on the top of our mind, and during these 4 days we try help you understand and design some strategy around it. So anyone, just raise your hand and then I'll give you a chance. Anyone who would like to share? Yeah, Abraham, go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. So my project is based in Ghana. It's an educational project. We are trying to improve the quality of education within the northern parts of Ghana, which relatively is underdeveloped. So you wouldn't find a lot of human capacity training models outside of the government educational curriculum that's given to young students. Not so much of the extras that makes a student more confident and smart. So that's what our model seeks to bring to the table. Now, the challenge here is the government system, seeing our complementary model as a competition. So they try to always find a way of restricting our activities. And so they feel whatever we are doing is going to minimize their impact within the educational community. So more like they feel we are going to do their job. So they would do a lot of things to slow down our impact. So right now I'm hoping to learn how to get my way, or how the team can get our way around dealing with government stakeholders who have all the power, right? And may be dancing with you at some point, and in the next second, they make it look like you guys don't belong here.
Yeah, I mean, Abraham, I can totally relate to this. We face a lot of such challenges, especially in the first 2-3 years where you are new in the market and you try to challenge the system, you try bring new things, innovation or efficiency into the system, then it challenges you. So I can totally relate. We do have the session on how you can build network around and how you can strategize yourself. So we'll be discussing this one by one, but I think this is one of the very important question. And on this, during these 4 days, so you will come to know a lot of different tools and techniques, that how you can enter into the system, or how you can work in the system where you challenge the system as well, along with if you are being challenged, but still you go there, you penetrate. So we do have different topics that we'll be covering in this. So before Bataul, I come to you. I shared the program schedule with all of you. Please come to the chat box, click on the schedule. Now you can go through this schedule, and this will tell you what you will be learning in the next 4 days. Let me tell you one thing. These learnings, it took us 4 months to design it. Different subject matter expert, they got combined, and we decided that this is what we need to teach you, and this is what you need to learn in order to be a great and a very inspiring startup, a community leader, an impact creator. Now, if you go through the topics, this is something a lot of startup, I would say most of the startup are missing. They have an idea, maybe they do have the funds, but a lot of things are missing when it comes to enterprise development. So this workshop, these 4 days cover so many things, like as you mentioned, this challenge. So we do have a session tomorrow on stakeholders management and market analysis, how you can manage the stakeholders, and government is one of your major stakeholder, and how you can do market assessment. So we will go through these every challenge that you mentioned step by step, and by the end of the 4th day you will learn a lot of things. So thank you very much for sharing that. Now we have Batul. I'm sorry if I am pronouncing your name incorrectly. You can correct.
Yeah, it's Batul.
Batul, right? Okay, all right, awesome.
Hello, thank you a lot for having us. And I'm
Mhm.
so excited for the 4 days already from what you have mentioned. I took a look on the schedule, and I think our challenge falls in the product and service development. We have already stepped into trying to solve this challenge at least, and seeking help, consultation with the help of the resolution project as well. However, like, because our product, the product we are willing to prototype is somehow physical, and it's a bit like scientific. It's beyond the business idea and the management stuff, and we have little expertise on it. We are seeking expertise. We are now starting to read the book. We have Google, and now we have a space to work in the lab, but we are still worried because we have a little expertise on this. So maybe like we would appreciate some resources, or at least like some tips, strategies, how we can deal with that, how to increase our confidence, how, yeah. So this is is prototyping a product that's very away from business.
And how do you feel about this schedule? Do you think it covers most of the challenges you face?
Yeah, we have other challenges that, of course, like we haven't covered, and we are willing, like it's very important at this point in our startup to cover. Yes.
Yeah, of course. And just to add what you said, we do have series of other boot camps that are coming in the next 2 or 3 months. This is the first boot camp. The next boot camp is on leadership development, that you as a leader, what skills you need to develop and how you can nourish the skills in your team member. Then the third bootcamp would be about sustainability and scalability, how you can scale up and sustain your idea, your business, your startup. So we have a sequence of different boot camps designed only to help you solve your problems, interact with the experts, gain the knowledge, know the concepts, develop the skills, so that you are able to have a successful launch, sustain it, and of course create a greater impact.
That's great.
Awesome, great. Thank you so very much for joining. All right, so any other challenge who would like to mention? So this discussion gave us an opportunity to know what's happening out there, and then we can tell you that what needs to be done, right? Utu, go ahead. Can you pronounce your name? I'm sorry, I am unable to pronounce it.
Yeah, my name is Lucien.
Lucien, thank you, Lucien. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm from Benin, and I'm happy to join you today. My venture is a wonder, and we are working on a mobile application to help our population have quick access to medicine product and a blood bag. So as said, we need to work with drugstores and blood banks in our country, because the application will we need to connect our application to the uh, uh, system so that we can
Mhm.
have access to real-time information as disponibility or availability of each project. So for that, we need to build a partnership with those structure or those companies, I mean drugstores and block banks. So right now we are facing a little challenge on that.
All right.
So we made them, and it's like they are not very open to work with us, but we are trying to find a solution for that. But since we didn't come up with a great solution, my goal for participating in this bootcamp uh, is to get some tips, some advices on how we can
Mhm.
uh, solve or found a solution for that problem. Apart from that, yeah, as every many venture here, we are dealing with team
Mhm.
management issues, uh, motivation of team members. So I think I will learn a lot from you during 4 days. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. No, of course. And Lucian, one quick thing for all of us, where you feel like we are speaking, we are moving so quickly, our delivering style is so speedy, stop us. Tell us to be, to go slowly so that you understand everything. We don't want you all to miss any single thing. So the more you interact, the better, we will be happy to interact with you. So let's get started with uh, with one quick activity. I am sharing a link with you all on the, here it is. So let us do some skill assessment. And I think these entire 4 days would be a lot of reflection, discussions, brainstorming, and so many things to write, process it again, so that you are able to apply these later on after this 4 days boot camp, and this bring changes, or this solve your problems. So now, as I said, there are problems in the team. Some may have low commitment, some may have high commitment, some may be skilled, some may be not that much skilled, some need to be trained, some are already well trained. So it is very important, like we at Center for Awareness Training and Development at the very beginning, Danish and I, and we with other, working with other startups, we always tell them to do your skill assessment every third month, so that you are able to see what skills you possess, what skills are needs to be added, or are if there are any gaps, you need to fill those gaps. So I shared the sheet with all of you. Let me share my screen as well. All right, so here is the sheet. Let me first explain it to you, and then let us take us some time, and let us do this skill assessment. Remember, if you want to do something awesome, something great, something wonderful, something that can create a bigger impact, there are two things that matters a lot. Number one, passion. Second, skills. And I have seen dozens of, in fact, hundreds of startups that they don't care that much about doing the skills assessment, that what skills they have, they possess, what skills they lack, and what skills they need to develop. So I want you all to let us go through this skill assessment, and let us jot down, let us list down these things. thing. So here you write your name, your venture name, the region you're working in, the top 5 skills you as an entrepreneur, if you are the founder of this venture, what are those top 5 skills you currently possess, right? Team top 5 skills. If you have 2 or 3 other team members, what are their top 5 skills they have? Then 3 skills missing in founder. What are the 3 skills you feel is missing in you? And then 3 skills missing in the team. And what are those 3 skills that are missing in your team members? So let us give time to it. Let us fill it and let us understand. Let us do the analysis. We call it skill analysis. This is very important for any idea, any enterprise. Skill assessment is very important. So let us do the skill assessment. If you have any question, let us take 10 minutes. In this 10 minutes, I want you to fill, every one of you fill this, put your details here, and let us see where is the gap. Let us help you how you can strategize yourself and come up with the skills that can help you grow further. So let us take 5 minutes. I am here. You have any question, let me know. I'll explain it again. But I want all of us to come to the sheet. If any one of you is facing any problem, please let me know. I am sharing the Excel sheet again. Yeah, I just shared it now, right? You can join back. All right. Yeah, here is the sheet. I shared the sheet, right? You can access it again. All right, awesome. So if you have any question where you feel you didn't understood or you need explanation, unmute yourself, ask me, I'll explain it. So ideally, I would like you all to mention the skills, the 5 skills, but if not, I would expect you to write at least 3 skills. Awesome, great. Those who have not started yet, you can put your skill comments here as well. Even if you have 2 or 3 team members here, still, you know, I would like each one of you to put, you know, the comments here. And one quick clarification regarding the 3 skills missing in founders. So here what we mean is, let's suppose you are running the enterprise and there are some certain skills you feel like you need to have, but you don't have it so far, or for now you don't have those skills. So like we don't have every skill, so there are some skills we miss while having this entrepreneurial journey. So what are those skills that you feel you need to have it but you are missing it? And it the same goes for the team. Let's take few more minutes so that you can complete it. But again, where you have any question, let me know. Awesome, going great. All right. Awesome. You still have few minutes to complete it. Yeah, agri care. Yeah, are you here? Awesome. Let's complete it. Let's also complete the 3 skills missing in founder and 3 skills missing in the team, because this would give us the overall picture. Where is the gap? Yeah, agri care, if you can complete your section as well. Then we have Kibera Library and Youth Empowerment Center. If you can complete yours one. Lucian, you're working on it, which is great. And then we have laboratory rates project. Yep, if you can complete yours as well. All right, awesome. Agri desert, if you can complete these 2 sections. Then we have education. If you can complete your section, we have Torah, Uganda. If you can complete your section, Komwa. All right, Sina, caring for girls. Let's take few more minutes. I want you all to complete it before we go into the discussion. Those who have not completed, you can complete it. Heba, can you unmute yourself? I have one quick question for you. Heba, if you can hear me. All right, seems like Heba is ignoring me. All right, no problem. Let's have Susan, do you hear me? Susan, do you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. All right. Yeah, Sina, do you have, I saw your hands.
No, I don't think my hand was up.
All right, no problem. All right, then, yeah, still in progress. So we cover chicken farm, Canada chicken farm. So the rest can complete the remaining sections. Um, I will call the venture name. Any representation from them, you can mute yourself and we can have a quick discussion, right? So AgriCare, do we have someone from AgriCare? Daruti, do we have you here?
Hello.
Yeah, how are you? Uh, are you able to access the sheet?
I'm having challenges. Whenever I log in, it logs me out. So
Oh,
on my
all
phone
right.
too, I can't have access to the sheet. They said unless I download it from Google Play Store before. So
Mm-hmm. So
yeah.
if you feel comfortable sharing with us, what do you think, like what are some of the skills you think that is missing in you as a founder, yeah, as a co-founder, and you need to work on it, and that would help your venture grow more? Any 2 or 3 skills you would like to share?
Please, can you come again? It was breaking.
Yeah, no problem. So I was asking any skills you feel like you need to develop and is missing, and this would help your venture grow more.
Okay, so if I get you right, you were asking me if any skills that I wish to develop from this workshop.
Yeah, wish, but along with wish, the skill that are needed for your venture. Your venture needs those skills that would help the venture grow more.
Okay, so our venture, we are trying to
Mm-hmm.
of ginger by converting it into a paste form. So we are kind of helping the farmers, and also it has a business aspect also. So right now we have launched our product on the market.
Mm-hmm.
So what we are facing, the problems we are facing now is when we started, it was social media. It's through social media. So we are not much equipped. And looking at the team, majority is
Mm-hmm.
have engineering background. Yes,
All right.
and we don't have marketing skills, and so it's kind of new. All the things that we need to learn is new. So looking at our background, what we learned in school is totally different from what we are doing right now, except our founder, who is a chemical engineer. So when it comes to the product, she knows a bit chemical about it. I did electrical. So like for now, my expertise is not needed much. So, and I'm
All right.
leading with the marketing aspect. So right now I have to learn the marketing trend, how businesses are doing it, so that we can inculcate it in ours and see how to shoot it forward. Yes.
Mm-hmm. All
Yes.
right. Awesome.
Yeah.
So this is very important. This realization and understanding that the skill is missing. This is very, very important. And Sena, can you tell us that if your team members are not that much committed, um, where do you see, where is the gap? Why did it happen? Do you think there was some problem in the selection? And based upon that analysis, what needs to be done next? So if you can unmute yourself.
Okay, thank you for
Of
the
course.
call out. I think with the commitment issues, so initially when I applied to Resolution Fellow was my idea.
Right.
It was something I did with my previous project, and I was like, okay, I want to expand this to something else to make it bigger than it is. So doing the application of like resolution project is when I called other team members on the team. And of course, at the early onset, people were excited. They wanted to see, because, at that time, it seems like, things are pumping and excitement was in the air. So it was friends, really. And I think after that, now that the work really has to be done in terms of like implementation, program designs, having stakeholders, partnerships, it's like, it's difficult having that because people's commitment is not the same as I would, because of course it's my idea. I think over the time I've learned that, expectations, you get to know that, okay, an idea that is yours, and it won't be the same or 100% taken up by somebody else who you might have brought into the team. Especially if you are your friends, right? It makes it extra hard. So I think having to find that balance, I mean, I still haven't figured it out. I'm still learning. Having to find that balance between professionalism and familiarity is where we're still trying to struggle. I mean, we had to like let go of some certain team members because of that, who were friends, and trying to get on other team members who are not our friends but are willing to put on the work.
Yeah, so I completely agree. But what do you think? Like, do you think there was something missing in the very beginning while you were able explaining them? Like, where was the miscalculation while picking those team members? Any realization and understanding around that?
Yeah, I think the miscalculation at the beginning is not choosing people based on their skill set and the passion for the work that you want to do, but I think choosing people because, oh, you know them and they think they'll stick with you when like you're working through this idea or project. I think it's essential that even though people are your friends, it's important to evaluate how best they can bring things to your team. What are their skill sets? How are they like motivated individuals? Do they passionate about the cause that you're doing? All of those things are important outside of just being your friends and you spend time with them and you feel like they'll be able to contribute.
Yeah, and it happens, remember. So like I have been through these, I can relate to it. It happens. So all you need to do is go there and recalculate everything. And I mentioned one thing which I want to repeat is the passion. Connect with the people, bring in the people who are passionate about bringing a change. So mostly in my trainings, in my interaction with startups, I tell them one thing, that passion is like, if you have a car, you have the engine is working, the tires are working, the entire system is amazing, is a new. But the only thing that is missing in the car is a fuel, petrol, gasoline, whatever you take. So if you have no gasoline, no fuel, no diesel in your car, how it can help you take you from one point to your destination? It cannot take you because the car is missing fuel, it is missing gasoline, it is missing petrol. So it cannot take you there. So in the startup ecosystem, passion to me is a fuel, is a gasoline, is a petrol that helps you reach out to your goal. So look out there, see who is passionate about bringing change, bring them into people. And let me tell you one thing, it's very hard. It's very hard to find such people. But if you are committed, if you are passionate, people will come to you. If not in the first attempt, in the second attempt, in the third attempt, maybe in the fourth attempt, right? Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that on that part of passion, I think you're completely right. Because sometimes, of course, you will never have all the skills to start something. You won't know everything when you're starting something. But I feel like that's why passion makes the difference, is because you're willing to learn, you're willing to outsource, you're willing to get all the necessary resources that will get you from point A to point B, right? And I think that's the problem, is like, passion is not evenly distributed in the team, because it becomes an issue of when one person is passionate and the other is not. And usually the problem is when you're starting something, you don't have a full idea, and maybe you take your friends or people close to you, but then there comes a time wherein your own ideas and opinions are limited, and you want the contribution of other people to make that product, that program, or that service to be the exceptional thing that you envision it to be. Your own thinking, your own ideas, your own opinions are always going to be limited. But if you have people on the team who are not thinking strategically or creatively as you, it makes it a difficult thing, a very difficult thing.
Yeah, it is. And along with that, I would call out Thora Uganda, Ruth, if you are here, if you can hear me. This is very interesting. I two things I think which is very relevant. What we have been discussing is the gaps, that is financial management, sales, and work-life balance. So can you unmute yourself, and why do you feel that these are the gaps and you need to work on it? Like, what is the baseline? What is the story behind this? Yeah, Ruth from Thora, Uganda.
Yes, thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
I feel sales is a big problem for my team because none of us has worked with this large sum of money before. So we are trying as much as we can to, see how we can learn on managing our sales and everything. So we try and want to learn, and I hope that from this, I'm going to, together with my team, are going to learn on how to manage our sales, because looking on things that we have to do and the funds that we have, it seems that we have quite a lot of things to do compared to the amount of money that we have. So we are kind of facing that challenge. And then about the work and life balance, because we are students, so kind of our timetable for school kind of gets in the way of our work. So we are trying also to see how we can manage that work and school, and yeah.
All right. And when it comes to work-life balance, this is very much, Danish can comment on this as well. This is everyday thing that happens even to us now as well. So how do you feel like you're challenged on daily basis when it comes to balancing, work life?
Basically, because we sometimes I'm busy while my colleagues are free, and we have designed the time schedule upon which we're supposed to be working. So we designed maybe this week we are going to be in this area doing this and this. Sometimes you find maybe me or someone else on the team has an exam on that day. So sometimes we face that challenge that sometimes someone is going to miss out, and the work becomes a lot for these people who are around, and yeah, like that.
All right, awesome. And yes, so this is a challenge, and I think we should be very conscious about this. And this is the reason we need to do this skill assessment. And when you say financial management, so we do have a very specialized session on the third day, I believe, which is on, effective operations and financial management, because cash inflow, cash outflow, and then managing these, the revenues, the expenses, this is key to the enterprise success. And like, I have been a mentor, a guide with the Resolution Fellows, and let me tell you, so this is one of the major issues like we are facing when we are having one-on-one communication with the fellows. So there are these challenges that the fellow faces, and that is why we wanted you to learn in your initial days so that you are able to understand this entire process. Yeah, Anna, over to you. You wanted to say something.
Yes, can you hear me right now?
We can hear you fine now.
Oh, finally. So
Yeah.
I want to talk about the issue of financial management.
All right.
I wanted to give my input on how we are dealing with that. The fact that the funding we got is less compared to the needs, or might not meet all the needs, or might be used at once and it gets done. What we decided to do is we are working out a plan of how to make the money we have, we use some of it to start up, then we make sure that the startup makes its own money to sustain itself. Of course, as we also look for opportunities for partnerships and all that, but we have to make sure that we use not all of it, but cut down the budget, make sure that the money you invest first multiplies and you're able to sustain the project without without running back to the resolution and complaining or crying that the money is used up, because that's actually a big challenge. you make a perfect budget during the pitching and all that, and you feel convinced that it is enough, but the reality on ground is different. And now that we've had COVID-19, it has a lot has changed on ground. So we have more needs, the new things that need to be included. So you have to make sure that the money you have makes more money, you invest and it makes more money, then you can get from the profits. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And I completely agree. So these are some of the challenges. So again, like we have been through all these phases, it is very important that what you design, what you plan, when you actually go into the field, things are a little bit different. So all we need to do is we need to be fine with some of the changes and flexible. If any change is needed later on, we should be able to make those changes. Joy from Komua, I think, if I'm not pronouncing wrong. So can you tell us regarding the time management and the passion? You feel like your team members are passionate. How is, when it comes to the scale, how everything is working, in your venture? Joy, yeah, Komoa, I think so, if I'm not pronouncing it incorrect. If you are here. All right, so all right, Mohammed Jama, can you agree desert? Tell me about this branding marketing. So do you feel like this is something that is affecting your enterprise having not those skills? Yeah, Mohammed from Agri Desert, if you're hearing me. Yeah, Mohammed, can you hear me? All right. So I think Mohammed is
Let me
not
check.
here.
I'm checking with him, Aziz. 1 second. You might not be able to hear.
Sure, sure. Let's jump to yeah, do we have Anita from Corollaire Chicken Farm, Uganda? Anita, do we have anyone from the team? All right, yeah, Nilmansi, right? Aisha, what's happening there in your enterprise when it comes to the scale assessment? How do you see where is the gap and how things are working in your venture? Yep. Aisha, if you can hear me.
Okay, like personally, like me and my teammates, we are the founders of Achievers Poetry Uganda. But the fact is that we haven't initiated the project because of the hectic schedules. We are still in school and we are planning to implement it by the end of this year. But then sometimes I get scared in that I'm the only person who's committed to the project, who cares more about how things are going to be running, yet my colleague is not putting in much effort. So I be like scared, will I be able to shall we be able to implement this project at some point? But then I put in a lot of effort, like most of the things I'm the one doing them, and I see that it's really a very big challenge.
All right, so what do you think, like what could be the best strategy so far you have worked on in order to to come up with this challenge?
So in most
Any
cases,
marking you have?
yeah, I do encourage this colleague of mine to put in more effort because this is a social cause. We are trying to create an impact, and in the end, even as we are benefiting at some point, I think we are getting the skills, we are getting the network. So I try to put in that effort. Yeah.
All right. And do you think you as a founder needs to re-strategize yourself in order to come up with these challenges? Or I would quote this question, that do you think you need to come up with a different strategies in order to cope up with this challenge?
Exactly, I think.
All right. All right.
I think,
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah,
I think
completed. Go ahead.
like I think we shall be calling out volunteers who can get to understand the project and we work together.
All right. Awesome. Great. Thank you very much. Let's have Doris Mwangi, if I am pronouncing it correct. What's happening there? How is, when it comes to skills, how's everything happening there? Where is the gap? Where is the strength? Yeah, Doris, if you can hear us.
Oh, yes, I can hear you.
Awesome.
So,
Great.
So in terms of our project is based in Kibera. We're supposed to build a library and also a computer literacy program and a mentorship program for children. So in terms of the skills that we have good team coordination skills. Our mentorship, our programs run well, and our the team that is in charge of our legal work is also good, and also the ones who are in charge of reporting are good. The problem comes in terms of commitment, because again, as the others mentioned, sometimes some team members, are not able to participate, especially the volunteers are not able to participate as you'd want. And also in terms of, because we're doing a library project, we've been looking for books in terms of book drives, but most of the time we get books that are from US. So they're based on the US curriculum. And for our project, we also need books that are intended for the Kenyan curriculum. So getting Kenyan curriculum books is also a challenge for us. So it brings the issue of trying to fundraise to get money to purchase books in terms of our own curriculum. So the other challenge would be trying to get partnerships that are relevant in terms of our project. So at the moment, because you're doing the computer literacy project, we want to collaborate with organizations that are actually teaching children how to code. So we are not that well off in terms of negotiation skills in setting up the partnerships that are relevant. So basically, I'd say that's where we are at, and that is what we're deficient in.
All right, awesome. And just one quick thing. What do you think? What's that major, you as a founder, as a lead person, what is that major gap you think you need to quickly jump in and start working on it? Because as a startup, as an entrepreneur, you knew where is the gap from your side. So any such specific thing that you are personally working on it in order to improve it?
For me as the founder, for the team.
All right, awesome.
For me, are you asking about me as the founder or the team?
No, of course, as a founder.
As the founder, I think strategic planning would be the skill that I'm not deficient in, because sometimes you plan that you want to launch a project in this particular duration, but again, you're not able to do that because For instance, in my case, I'm in medical school, so school became a bit overwhelming and I had to put things on hold. So I'd say that I was a bit over ambitious in terms of setting the goals, and then I end up not, achieving them in the intended timeline. So I'd say strategic planning and setting those clear-cut goals that are achievable.
Awesome. Great. And I think this discussion is really interesting, and it gives us the realization that one of the major issue is the skills. And if we don't work on it, we as an entrepreneur, we as a founder, and if we do not focus on the team, so this can hurt us badly. And remember, if you pick any research across the globe, so you will find getting team members are skill gap, one of the top 3 or top 4 major reason due to which startups or ventures fail. So that is why we really need to stay focused. And that's the reason we have taken start from having this conversation and doing this need assessment. I just shared a sheet with all of you. It's the same sheet, but click on it. It will take you to the another tab, which is skills. So let me share my screen as well. Yeah, here it is. So it's the same old sheet where you wrote the skills. Now I want to be more focused on the top 10 skills. Let's suppose, let's keep top 10 skills. I want all of you to write two skills you think is important to you based upon your personal experience. You can write more as well, but I just wrote 10. It could be more than that. For example, I as Aziz, I think teamwork and I think passion, these are the 2 most important skills for the entrepreneurial skills. And why it is important, I can write it down why it is important. So I want every one of you that every one of you fill a separate row. Just mention 2 skills you think are very, very essential for any founder startup they need to have, and why it is important. Just write one quick sentence that why it is important. Write skill 1, then write skill 2, and why you think these 2 skills are important. You can write 2 skills. Every one of you can write 2 skills, and just in front of it, write why it is important. Let's take 5 minutes to complete this activity. And these all sheets will be accessible to you later on as well, so that you can go through this as well, and you can have the revision and you work on it, and this helps you improve your venture. So you can mention 2 skills and why it is important. Just write one sentence. And if you have any question, let me know. I can explain it again. I want all of you to post at least 2 skill set. I want to understand what is really important to you. Those who have written 1 skill, you can write the second skill as well. What do you think? What's the second skill that is very important and why it is important? I just shared with you again, right? So you can access the link now. Yeah, Daniel, you can access the link now. Awesome, create passion, ability to adapt, commitment. So those who have written passion, what do you think? What's the next skill that is important to you personally? And then we have leadership. What is the next skills that is important to you? Good leadership skills. What's the next step that is important according to you? So you can write to flexibility. So you can write the second one as well. What is that second skill that is really important? So you can write 2 skills that you feel like it's very important for any startup or for any venture in order to grow and be successful. Yes, it's hard to make changes on phone. Can you send uh, your comment here? I can post it there. Yeah, Akurat, can you post your comment here in the chat box? I'll post it in the sheet for you. Hmm. All right, commitment, number second. Can you mention the second skill? What is important? Those who are unable to post it on the sheet, you can share it with me and I would be happy to post it on the sheet. Let's complete it in few minutes. Awesome, great. Sure, let me post it. Here we go. All right. Innovation and education. Okay, so now let me post it there. And why do you think it's important? Skill development, innovation, and dedication. All right, awesome, great. Okay, enables diversity, growth. Thank you very much. Those who completed it, thank you very much. Let's complete the rest as well. All right, all right. All right, awesome, great. Thank you very much. So now we have a list where we can now go and see what are those skills that are needed. So for you, there might be 2 or 3 skills that are important in other startup or venture opinion. There would be different skills that are needed for a startup, but this sheet now will help you, will give you a summary and will give you an idea what are those skills that are important. So now you can extract those skills that you feel like can help you grow very well. So now let's have a quick discussion on this. Let me share my screen again. Here we go. All right, awesome. Now, one quick question from all of you, and I want whoever wants to answer me, raise your hand. What do you think? Like, you mentioned these skills, and in the previous sheet, you mentioned different skills that, you know, I need to develop these skills as well. Now, after going through this sheet, what your colleagues has written, what do you think? What are some of those skills that you thought before are not important, but now you feel that these are the skill that I need to work on it, and these are important? So what are some of those skills that your initial thoughts were these are not really important, but now your thoughts are that these are really, really important, and you need to work on it? So I want everybody to comment on this, but those who wants to comment, please raise your hand. Yeah, Bataul, please go ahead.
Yeah, so mainly when you said top skills, we were pushed to think a bit further, and maybe because like we are thinking sustainably. For me, like I wrote number 10, which is resources outlining and effective management and problem solving. I thought like, yes, now we are struggling with the technical knowledge, but we can gain technical knowledge at some point, and then we are equipped with it, or we are experienced with it. But problem solving, at every point in our venture we might have problems and we need to solve it. So I just thought now holistically more, and on the long and short term more than on the short only.
All right, awesome. So that's where it is important, and that is, I mean, the power of the trainings, right, where you learn from others. Anyone else who would like to comment? What skills do you think you realize you need to work on it? Yes, any other comments? You can raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself, and you can, yeah. Anna, go ahead.
Thank you so much. So I didn't realize that passion is actually a skill. And it's a skill that I possess in plenty. So why it is very important is with passion, despite all the challenges, the lack of commitment and all that, but with passion, you don't give up. For me, the venture we are working on, it is a bit personal to me because it was inspired by my late dad. So every time I'm about to give up because of these other challenges, that I'm doing this for me, I'm doing inspired from my late dad. So I can't just give up. You know, better days are ahead. So I didn't realize in the first place that passion is a skill. I'm happy to learn that it is and that I possess it. So it will be on the top list next time.
Awesome, that's awesome. And that's why we want you to go through this experience. We don't want you to only go and work on your own perceptions or your own experience. Others' experience perception might be different. So that is the reason we want you to you know, go through this process. Ambrose, yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. To me, I think the top two skills, one is teamwork and financial management. Teamwork, because with a team, I think you'll have a diversity of ideas. You'll be able to ideate, problem solve together. And to me, a great achievement comes with a great team. Then for financial management, yeah, probably for an venture to grow, you need to manage your finance very well. And if you don't, then you won't be able to grow. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really important, financial management, and this helps you. And that's one of the major reason why startup fails. They are unable to manage their you know, expenses or their cash. It is very important to understand what the cash inflow is, what the cash outflow is, how much are the expenses, how much are the revenues, how much profits needs to be, you know, if you're for profit, still you need to keep a margin where you need to be a self-sustainable. Our sustainability is very important. So these are very, very much important. Yes, anyone else? Any other thoughts, realization? Yeah, Dorothy, go ahead.
Okay, so what I realized is that most of us are working in team, and as founders, you don't sit in your room and set up goals, and when you expect the same spirit from your team members. So since you all came together to work on a particular you want to make, you come together. If we all contributed in it, we'll all be passionate to do it. But if you sit in your room and set your goals, don't expect the team members to take it as the way you did it. So involve them in every process. That's one thing I realized. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I love what you said. And adding to it is, so my personal strategy is that I don't expect everybody in my team to be so much passionate. A lot of team members come seeing the financial benefit. They come and they work keeping that financial returns in mind. So I keep a strategy. I keep a mixed strategy. Somewhere I pick a person who is more passionate and I put them on a influential role, and somewhere I pick a person who is more up, following orders, maybe not so much passionate, but still he or she can help me cover the operations or any part of the activities. So it should be a mixed strategy. We should not expect everybody to be so much passionate the way we are, because we as a founder are very much connected to our ideas. But you as a startup, as a founder, you really need to come up with a mixed strategy and pick people who are passionate, pick people who follow the orders well, pick people who are creative, and this way you would be able to manage your team effectively. And that's the reason we wanted first to go through this skill analysis. Once you do this skill analysis, then this will help you grow further and create an impact. Now, any final thoughts? Anyone who would like their final thoughts before I move to one of the very amazing tool I want to share with you all? Yeah, anyone final thoughts? Roy Ford, if you want to share and with us.
Thank you so much for the
Yeah, of
opportunity.
course.
I hope you can hear me.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I would like to talk about creativity and innovation because I feel in every venture, it's about how unique your venture is to addressing the gaps in the society. So through creativity and innovation, you are able to solve some of the problems that you are facing in your venture, and at the same time, it makes you stand out. I will also talk about teamwork and collaboration because for you to grow as a venture, you need partners on board and you need the team members that you are working with to share the same vision and mission with you. So if you can be able to center around the team that you have and build collaboration with other partners, your venture is more likely to scale. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, very much agree. And Ruti just wrote it in the comment. Learning, yes, it's very important. You should be, as a founder, we need to pick people who are growth mindset, not a fixed mindset, or who has a learning mindset, a learning attitude. So this adds a lot of value to your venture culture or organization culture. Yeah, Batul, you have a question, please go ahead.
Yes, can you hear me well?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so my question is of these two activities. So the objective of the first activity was to identify what's missing, to know what to complement. And what's the objective of this activity? To prioritize what we want to seek?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is very important question you asked. So why I did these three in a segment, the reason is you need to understand, you need to have a learning approach. Now, from this sheet that you see on the screen, this helps you see What are all those skills that are needed to be mastered, you know, in order to run a venture successfully? Even if you have, let's suppose, 10 skills out of these, you need to pick people with skills who with a skill set that you need. And since you all are running different setups in different parts of the world, you have a different approach, you guys are solving different problems, and there is a mix or diversity in the skills as well. So this activities gives you a list of different skills that different entrepreneurs across the globe, startups across the globe think that these are important, and they have written why these are important and why you should see these skills, develop these skills, and help your team develop these skills in order to run your venture successfully. So this is a list of skills. That is a guideline for you that you need to develop these skills, most of the skills by you as a founder, and you need to search people with such skills, and you need to develop these skills in your existing team members. So that was the ultimate purpose of this skills activity. Now, I hope this is answer to your question, but if you are still unclear, let me know, I can explain it further.
No, it's totally clear. Thank you very much for the
Yeah.
activity, for the explanation.
No, of course, everything is aligned. I told you we will be sharing a lot of tools, and we will share this folder with all of you by the end of the workshop so that you access all the things we have discussed, right? Any questions so far, any confusion, any challenge that you have faced which is relevant to the skills, share with me, ask me, so that I can move then to the next tool. Any question? Yeah, Roy Ford, go ahead.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I would like to ask a question in regards to risk management for the ventures. In the past few years, we saw so many companies, the big companies, collapse because of the COVID-19. So for us running startups and growing the ventures, how can we be able, which skills would you really talk about that we need to have or equip ourselves and our team with them, such that we can be prepared for unpredicted risk that may arise?
Situations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Roy Ford, this is very important question, but it doesn't have, it does not have one answer to it. It has multiple aspects to it. I am sharing one terminology with you all, and I want you to go and Google it and research it. One terminology we use it in business world is scenario planning, which is very powerful activity. So in the future, you will be facing different scenarios. For example, you might not get a very passionate team members. Scenario number one. Scenario number two, you might face financial problems. Scenario number three, your business might bear financial losses. Scenario number four, your co-founder might leave your organization. So these are the different scenarios, and we call it scenario planning. So you can mitigate risk by doing scenario planning, and you go and you imagine what can happen in the future, and if that happened, what would be your strategy in that specific scenario. So this is called scenario planning. This is a very extensive activity, and I wish if during these 4 days I get some time, I'll explain it further, but write this and then explore it further. This would help you understand in the risk management. Now, if there is still unclarity and you need to get a more detailed answer, let me know. I can explain it further. Yeah, Roy Ford, any?
Okay, thank you. I got it right.
Yeah, awesome. Just research on this scenario planning. This would help you a lot. All right, any other question? Any other confusion? I want you to speak your mind and to speak. I want you to speak your problem so that we can solve it out. So later on, we will have this session on entrepreneurial attitude and then product and service development. But I'm just preparing you regarding the skills, which is a basic to be a successful entrepreneur. Any question, or should I move ahead? If you have no question, you can write in the chat box yes, no. You can write no in the chat box, then I can go ahead and share the other activity with you all. If everything is clear so far, then you can comment with no in the chat box, with yes in the chat box, and then I can move ahead. And if you have a question, you can ask me, then I can answer that and we'll move ahead. Is this all clear? It's fine, clear. Does it make any sense so far? All right, awesome, great. All right, amazing, great. Awesome. Mitchell, are you here?
Yes.
All right, awesome. So let's have a 10 minutes break. We want them to have some water, get refreshed and come fresh. Till then, I think we will have the speaker as well, who will start this session, and then we can carry on as per the schedule. So I think 10 minutes breather would be fine. So let's take a 10-minute quick breather. Don't leave the room. You can just go take tea, drink water and come back exactly in 10 minutes, and then we will start. Yeah, Elizabeth, no problem. We still will try ask you, and you still, if not through audio or video, you still can have chat with us. So let's take 10 minutes break and let's be back by 10 minutes. Don't log out from here, stay logged in, and let's join in 10 minutes. All right. Awesome. Let's get started with one of the very important aspect. I'll share my screen. So stop me where you have question, and if you're unable to see my screen, it's technology. Sometimes it doesn't work. You can stop me and I can work on it. All right, so for us as a startup, it is very important that we first understand how we can create an idea. Remember, the foundation is your idea, whether whether it's a community based, it's a social, or it's economic activity based idea. In whatever field you are working or you want to work on, it is very important for all of us to see what idea we are generating and how effective that idea is, how powerful that idea is. So that is important to know the process where how we can generate an idea. So in this next 45 minutes, I will have multiple discussions with you. I'll be sharing some tools and techniques how you can create an idea. All right, let me see why it's not working. Let me open it again. Give me a minute, I'm checking it. This is technology. Here we go. All right. Let me do it again. Let me share it online. Yep, here we go. All right, here it is. Can you see my screen? Please check in the chat box.
This is loading on my end. If you want, I can try to share it.
Okay. Yeah, here it is. All right, so let's start. Here we go. Now it's working. It's working. All right, so here we go. So as I said, it is very important for all of us to understand the idea creation process. Remember, it's not only idea that matters. It matters how you create an idea and how powerful or how I would say the effectiveness of idea is really important. So that is why ideation is the creative process of generating, developing, and communicating an idea. It is not only about generating an idea, it is also about creating an idea. Sometimes we get an idea, we started working on it. Before we develop it, we see what can be done, what should be done, what should not be done, what should be included, what should be excluded. We don't do our homework. And then we are unable to communicate our idea, maybe to our customers, maybe to the people we want to impact, maybe to the stakeholders, maybe to the different clients that would be onboarded, maybe to the team members, maybe between the founders. So that is why ideation, idea creation is not only generating an idea, it is also about developing your idea and then communicating your idea. So that is why it is really, really important for us not to only generate an idea, also to work on it and communicate it effectively. So that is why it is not a one-time idea generation or a brainstorming session. That doesn't mean your co-founders, your team members, you had a meeting, one day you discussed the idea and then that's all. You go and you start working on it. No, ideation is not a one-time process. It is a reoccurring process. It is a cyclic process. You need to discuss your idea every second day, so that you bring changes, you bring innovation, you bring effectiveness into your idea. So that is why ideation has 3 important stages. Now, as I explain these stages, I want all of you to think and see what stage you have so far followed, what stage you have missed, and what stage you can work on in order to refine your idea. You already are running a venture. We need to refine it. So now let us focus on how we can refine our venture. Just understanding the 3 stages generating, you have generated the idea. Maybe you have selected the best idea. Now here's the time to develop your idea, and there are different techniques for that. And let's explore first the process. Now, in this idea selection process, the first step is idea generation. You go out there with your founders, with your team members, you generate an idea comes to your mind or to your team minds, you jot it down. That's the first step. The second step, idea evaluation and selection. Remember, you will have multiple ideas at a time. Some ideas may be workable, some ideas may be feasible, some ideas may not be, feasible. So in the next stage, you need to evaluate your ideas, and you need to pick some of the best ideas. That's the second step. Now the third step, idea refinement and development. Now in the stage second, for example, you had 6 ideas. Out of 6 ideas, in the second stage, you picked one idea. Now, that one idea in the next stage is you need to refine it. You need to develop it, what the idea is, what problem it solves, what are the different aspects of the product or service you're offering, what are the financials involved in it, what are the human resources required, what are the material or machines required. Is your idea feasible, viable, and desirable or not? So these are all the refinements and the development of an idea. You make strategies, you develop the entire idea. Now, once you do that all calculation and strategic work, then the next phase is testing. Now, where is the gap? Maybe some of you have faced this. I know, and I have worked with dozens of startups and entrepreneurs. An idea comes to them, maybe they evaluate it for a while, but they don't develop it. They directly go and they start testing it, and they face a lot of problems. So that is why you need to complete the cycle. You need to go through the process. Once you have an idea, see what that idea is, evaluate. You might have different ideas. Even you in your current venture, you might have different ideas, and your team wants to do different things. You can't do all the things. You really need to evaluate what you can do, and you need to select 1 or 2 things that you can do in the best way. And once you select it, go to the refinement and development phase. Develop it from all aspects. What are the technical, financial resources you need? What would be the marketing strategy? What would be the business model around it? How you will engage customers? How you will create an impact? How you will sustain yourself? How you will sustain this idea? Etc., etc. So these are the different calculation you need to do in the third phase. And in the fourth phase, again, once everything is ready, everything is on the paper, you have developed the idea, now go over there and test it with some of the customers, some of the people, or some of your target audience. Go test it. You will get the feedback, improve that feedback, work on that feedback, improve your idea, your venture, go over there again in the market, see your idea would be better, and people will start, buying your product or your service. So when it comes to idea generation, you really need to go through these 4 stages. Now, my question to all of you, have you followed these 4 stages when you were designing or you were generating an idea of the current venture? Have you gone through these stages or not? Yes, raise your hand if you want to comment. Yep, you can raise your hand, those who wants to comment. Yeah, Shamula, go ahead.
Okay, so I I just realized that after the idea evaluation stage, when I got to the idea refinement and development stage, I really fully developed the idea and moved straight into testing and implementation. So it's just something I've learned, and I'm grateful for this bootcamp for making me get to know all of this, and I'm sure I'll implement whatever I've learned just this little time.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And there is a lot more. This is just the start. We'll share a lot more, right? Thank you so much. Any other comments? Anyone who has gone through the process, if you have followed it, even if you have not followed it, I would like to hear from you. Yeah, Abraham, go ahead.
Yep. So just like she also mentioned that I also did idea generation, I did the idea evaluation and selection, and then I skipped to testing and implementation.
All right.
So I think that's also partly one of the reasons why I had problems at the implementation stage, because then I didn't know it's a whole stage to refine and develop an idea before you get it on the ground.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought it was a passive, more of a passive stage than an active one.
And Abraham, I mean, these are the small minor things. These are things that a lot of startups entrepreneurs don't care, or maybe they don't know. But these matters when it comes to the success of the venture. And that's the reason we want the resolution. We at CATID, we want you to understand these things. You might be putting so much efforts, but there might be some small things that you are missing, and that is giving you a hard time. So we want to save you from that hard time, right? So whenever you want to generate any idea or you want to refine your current idea, go and follow these 4 steps process. And again, why this ideation is important. Number 1, yeah, Abraham, go ahead.
I was just wondering if you could briefly touch again on the refinement and development stage. What exactly goes into that again?
Yeah, sure. Let me do that. So in the refinement and idea development means, for example, you want to come up with an idea. So you selected one idea. Now for that one specific idea, you need to see what that idea is, why you selected that idea, how this idea will create an impact, who will be the team members, what will be their skills, who is your target audience, how you will be reaching out them, how this current idea is feasible, viable, desirable, what are the financial resources you need, what are the technical resources you need, how you will be generating revenue through this idea, how you will be selling it out, how you will be keeping records, how you will be pitching it to the clients, etc., etc. So these all questions comes in the refinement and in the development phase. Once you develop all these things, you document all these things, then the stage of testing and implementation starts. Is this clear now?
Yeah, it's clear. Thank you.
All right, awesome, great. Now the next question is why ideation is important, why you need to invest so much time and energy when it comes to idea phase. Because it increases your innovation opportunity. The more you go through the idea creation process, the more your product, your idea will be innovative. Second, it can bring together different perspectives and ways of thinking. For example, you were thinking that these skills might not be important. Now in today's session, you realize that, hey, this skills is also important. So different perspectives they come together and you realize, and maybe you have one approach which is not effective from your team members, from the brainstorming phase, from the idea process. This might help you a different way or a different approach, which might be less costly, and it can save a lot of your efforts and time. So that is why it is important. Third, helps you prioritize ideas and pick the most promising one. Remember, every idea is not worth creating impact. Every idea is not feasible. Every idea is not sustainable. You need to pick the best idea that is promising one, that can create impact, that can sustain your, that is sustainable, and that can help you succeed in your goal, or that the one that is relevant to your goals or to your targets. So that is why you need to go through this ideation process and encourage an open and innovative culture. So this would help you build a culture that revolves around innovation and creativity. And more innovation, more creativity means more impact, more sustainability, more revenues, more growth, and more socioeconomic impact on the people you serve. So that is why ideation is very, very important. And here are some of the tools for how you can create an idea. Abraham, go ahead.
Yep, sorry again, but
Hannah, go ahead.
Based on the importance that you've mentioned, does that mean that ideation is not limited to just the early parts of a project? Of course. So it means it's recurring in the middle, in the end, ideation can happen.
Yes, and let me repeat that again. Ideation is not a one-time process. It is an ongoing cyclic process. Every time, anytime you need to think on it and you need to improve things. So that is why it is not a one-time activity. It is an ongoing activity. All right, now this is interesting. I want all of you to be very focused on these 4 techniques. Then I'll give you a chance to ask me questions. Number 1, these are the 4 tools through which you can generate amazing ideas, right? Number 1, observations. If you as a person has a strong observations around you, the challenges, the problems, the gaps, the opportunities that is around you, if you have a strong observation, that could help you come up with the best idea. That can help you come up with different ideas. And from those ideas, you can pick the best idea. So that is the one tool and technique. Through your own observations in your community, in your area, you can come up with different ideas. Second, someone else's idea. Sometimes you might not have an idea. Sometime there might be your friend, your family member, your mom, dad, brother, sister, anybody can give you an idea, and you might like that idea and you might start working on that idea. So you should also be open up. If sometime you don't have an idea, somebody else can give you an idea. You can build on somebody else's idea. That is one of the way where ideas can come to you. Second, experience. Now, you're working in your own community. You're working with different people, with different organizations, under different capacities. You have your own experience while working with them. Now, that experience, during that experience, you have observed the gaps. You have experienced challenges. For example, your own self, or you yourself have gone through a lot of hardships, finding school around you, or getting, quality education. Now that is your personal experience. You can build on your personal experience and you can come up with an idea. You can come up with different ideas and you can build a venture around that. The fourth one, existing idea. Sometimes you don't need to think too hard. Most of the things are out there in the market. A lot of ideas are already existing. For example, Uber, Careem, we have Amazon, we have Alibaba, we have different organizations that are operating across the globe. And we have a lot of local startups who are replicating those ideas. So somewhere you can replicate the idea and you can modify that as per the local context. So these are the 4 ways through which you can do what? You can generate ideas. Now, any question, any confusion here? Any question you have here, you can ask me. Yeah. Any question, anything you want to share? Do you think it makes sense? Anyone who would like to comment in either in the chat box, or if you can unmute yourself. So Elizabeth, that's a very tricky question. Again, you have to see multiple things. So I gave you 3 things, right? You need to keep 3 things in mind if you want to pick the right idea. The first thing, you need to see whether your idea is desirable. First thing, desirability. By desirable, I means, is your idea solving the problem of the people? Or is it according to the wish, the need, or desire of the people or not? Will your product be liked, or your idea be liked by the people or not? Or does it serve their purpose, their need or not? That's the first thing you need to notice. The second thing is feasibility. Your idea will be the right one, or will be a sustainable one, will be effective one, if that is a feasible one. By feasibility, it means, do you have the resources, the technical resources? Mean, do you have the softwares? Do you have the, let's suppose, the logistic system? Do you have the machines? Do you have the resources, human resources or financial resources, through which you can solve the problem of the customer, or you can, deliver your product to the doorstep, or service to the doorstep of your client or your customer? That is feasibility. Now, the third thing you need to see is the viability. Now, what does it mean? Viability simply means, let me explain it simply. It means, is your idea worth through which you can earn money? Number one, can you earn money through this idea or not? Second, the price that you have put on your product and service, can the people afford it or not? That's the next thing. So these are, and third thing, will you be able to generate revenue through this idea, or through this venture, or through this product or not? So these are the 3 important things that you need to keep if you want to see whether your idea is a great one, effective one, your venture or your product, your service is effective one, right one or not. So if you find these things, the feasibility, viability and desirability, it means your product will be sustainable and it can grow. So this is how you can evaluate your idea, whether it's effective one or not. Hope it's the answer to the question.
Please, can you mention the 3 checkpoints? I didn't get it.
Okay, the three things you can further research on it. The first one is desirability, right? The second one is feasibility. The third one is viability. So these are the 3 terminologies that you really need to master in order to,
Can you mention the third one again? I don't know, I can't hear it properly.
Yeah, it's viability. Let me mention it in the chat as well. It's viability, right? Sorry, I missed I, but this is how it's spelled. Here it is.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, of course. All right, awesome. And some of the key successful factors for ideation. The first one, whenever you are doing this exercise, please keep in mind, is this align with your strategic goals or not? First. Second, structured and methodical approach. As I said, this is a very structured approach. It is very a stepwise approach. We discussed it earlier. You need to go step by step. The third, ask the right questions. When you are developing a product or a service, you need to ask the right questions. Who are the people I am targeting? Am I fulfilling their wishes or their needs or not? And then third, get the right people. We had a detailed discussion on this. teamwork alone, you can't do everything. Your venture will fail ultimately if you don't have the right people onboarded in your organization. So get the right people. The next one is love the problem, not the idea. Sometimes we become so excited about the idea and we forget about the problem. Your idea, your solution should revolve around the problem you are solving. And then, of course, you need to remove barriers. During this ideation phase, you will face a lot of barriers, maybe financial, maybe human resource, maybe the teamwork, the team members you're working with. So there will be a lot of barriers. You need to resolve those barriers, or you need to remove those barriers in order to go through the ideation process successfully. And to quickly share with you, we have I have a few minutes, but I can share quickly with this. We already discussed this, but these are the 4 stages in the creativity cycle. We call it creativity cycle, right? The first one, research. Go out there, research what do you want to work on, what problem you want to solve, what are the existing startups, ventures that are working on it. So this is the research phase. Do extensive research. Now, once you do research, you will get a lot of the data. Now, the next phase is ideation, which I discuss it in the detail. In the ideation, you develop, you sketch the idea. You come up and you see the different aspect of the idea and you try brainstorm and pick the best idea. Now, once you pick the best idea, the third stage is the development. And we discussed this as well. In the development phase, you see what resources you need, what needs to be done, what should be the business model, who will be the customer, how you will be reaching out them, who are the team members that will be working with you, etc. So these are the different things we see in the development stage, and I already explained this in detail. And the third one is revision. It is very important. Once you finalize thing, you revise it again with the team members. You go out there, you find an expert, or you find your mentor or senior. You sit with them and you share with them and take a feedback from them, and then revise if there is any improvement that are needed to be included in the idea. So now if you follow this step by process, so this will help you come up with an idea which is desirable, which is feasible, which is viable, which is effective, which can solve the problem of the people, which can help you, gain returns and create a bigger impact. So that is why these are the steps that you really need to, focus on it. And to mention again, this is a systematic process. You need to go step by step. If you don't go step by step, if you miss any step, as we discussed earlier, there will be a gap. You will be struggling when you go over there and you are implementing your idea, or when you are working on your venture in the field. So that is why ideation is a step-by-step process, and you need to follow this. You need to follow these steps that I discussed. I'll be sharing the presentation with you as well, so that it's with you. But if you have any question before we move to the next session, we have the speaker here with us. I took 2 minutes more. I apologize for that. But if you have any question, please let me know. I can answer to your question, and then we will move to the next segment. Any question? Yes, any question, any confusion, anything you like, anything you want to share, you can. Then we will move to the next segment. Hi, Mitchell. Welcome. Sorry, I'm taking your time. We're done. We're just waiting if we have any question from them. All right. If that silence means the the answer is that there is no question, right? So thank you very much. I'll be here for the 4 days. No worries, I'm here anytime for the question. Let's move. I have been joined by Mitchell from the Deloitte International. I would like her to introduce herself. Thank you very much. I remember last year you joined us. You're joining this year as well. So thank you. I appreciate your inputs, your efforts. Over to you. Yeah, Mitchell, you're mute. You're mute.
Now can you hear
And this, yeah, and this happens so many times.
Yes, in the professional world all the time. What I was saying was no worries on
Yeah.
the extra time. When you work somewhere like Deloitte, where you have call after call after call, you start to learn that, okay, usually there's a 5-minute window that you kind of wait for people to join. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Over to you.
okay. Looks like I have the ability to share my screen. So if everybody, if you give me a thumbs up or let me know when you're able to see. Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for letting me come and talk a little bit about products and services. I'll start with a little bit about myself. I've been with Deloitte now for 12 years, believe it or not, on June 1st. I currently work in our global contact center. So what that basically is it's internal facing. So if any employee at Deloitte has a problem, whether it's a technical problem, issues reporting their time, software, benefits, etc., they call 1-800-Deloitte, and then they are able to talk to an agent to get their problem solved. However, my role was created to shift some thinking around, instead of talking to a person, try to use some of the products and tools that we offer internally to solve their problems. So one of the things I was just working on this morning was testing out our latest voice bot. We call 1-800-Deloitte, and we've built a voice bot to help solve their problems. So I have a fair amount of product management expertise, although my years at Deloitte have been doing lots of different things. And I also have an MBA from Kellogg. The emphasis was in marketing, so learned a lot about products and services. And just some fun stuff about me to get to know you all better. I am a huge baseball fan. As a matter of fact, I'm going to a game this evening. I recently adopted a cat and I named her Raja because I feel like she looks like a tiger, and one of my favorite movies is Aladdin. And during the pandemic, I'm sure all of you discovered some interesting hobbies while everybody was on lockdown. I discovered Legos. So I am a little obsessed and have many, many Lego sets now sitting around my house. So that's a little bit about me. Let us jump into it. So let's start by level setting. I'm curious to hear from you all. How would you define a product? If you're comfortable coming off mute, feel free. Otherwise, I will make sure I monitor the chat as well. Nice to meet you as well, Sina. No one has thoughts on what a product means, to sell a product?
Can I give a try?
Of course.
Yep. So I think that a product would be a solution that has been created to solve a problem.
Okay. Yep. Very good.
The value of our form put in a physical form, maybe,
Very
or maybe
good. Yes.
physical.
Yes. No. Very good. Physical is a very critical element to the definition of a product.
I'd also say that in addition to it being a solution to a problem, it's also value for money, and it can also be a service, not necessarily something that is physical, like an accessory.
Yeah, so very interesting. So in terms of, one is how Merriam-Webster defines a product, and the other is just sort of business language. But yes, an article or a substance, something physical typically, that is manufactured or refined for sale. Sometimes you may not be creating the original, you may be, improving on something that exists. And the other key elements that many of you raised is it serves a customer's need. Someone has to want it. It has to solve a problem. Generally, it is tangible. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it. And you're able to sell it. So the exchange of money, very important. All very good responses. So now, what is a service as opposed to a product? So if you were going to sell a service, what does that look like?
A response to a need.
Okay. Yep. Definitely similar to product. There has to be a need. Someone has to want it.
I would say an intangible solution to a customer's need.
Very good. Intangible. Very, very good word. Any other thoughts? So yes, intangible right on the screen. So good job, whoever said that. A service is more of an action. So it's an action of doing something for someone. But similar to a product, the customer has to be willing to pay. So it's a action that you're offering someone that someone is then paying you for. So hopefully that's a little bit clear. What I want to do now is have a conversation about very famous companies that hopefully you've all heard of. And I want you to offer up, do you think they are a product company where they are building something tangible and selling it to you for money? Or do you think they are a services company where they are doing something for you in exchange for money? So let's take a look. And again, feel free to come off mute or I will also monitor the chat. Hopefully this logo is familiar to everybody. If it's not, let me know. Okay, Sina, I see posted product. Lawali, product. Others? Okay, Doris. And if I pronounce anyone's names incorrectly, I apologize. Nalumansi, product. Okay. Everybody seems to be pretty familiar with Nike. So yes, Nike is a product company. They build, they build lots of different products, but they're most famous for their sneakers. So shoes, apparel, you pay money and you get something that you can hold in your hand. Now, what about FedEx? And again, hopefully this is familiar. I know internationally, DHL tends to be a little more prominent, but okay. Okay, very good. I see the same sort of 4 or 5 people responding, but okay, great. Samuela, Anna, very good. Yes, FedEx is a service. So basically you are paying someone and that person basically takes a package from one place to another. You can't physically hold that delivery in your hand. You hold the package, but the company who made the package is the product company. Let's try another one. Coca-Cola. Okay. Yep. Very good. Another easy one, product. Again, you're paying money, you get some delicious soft drinks, as well as they've branched out, to be multidimensional. So soft drinks, water, merchandise, etc. All right, so you all have done a great job so far. I'm going to start to try to make it a little more difficult. What about Netflix? Service. Both. Okay, very good, Batul. Both product and service, Lawali. Very good. So interestingly, my guess is none of you on this call are old enough to remember when Netflix started. And basically all they did was sent DVDs to your house. You went online, you had a list of your favorite movies, and you would pay a monthly fee and they would literally mail you DVDs. I'm curious if anybody actually knows that or remembers that in any way, shape, or form. Go ahead and put a thumbs up. But my guess is you all are very young. But streaming is a service. So, very good. Everybody who said service, you pay to use the service. And then when you're no longer paying, you no longer have the service, but you don't have anything tangible to hold as a result. But Netflix, it's interesting because now with all the streaming services, they're starting to produce their own content. And while it's still a services organization because you're just paying to watch the content, that kind of starts to blur the lines. If they ever got to the point where, they were selling their movie to, a movie theater, that's a product. The movie theater can take that movie and show it. So they are still a services company, but they're starting to blur the lines a little bit. One more. What about this one? Product. What's a product? Okay, also both. Here, I see some. Okay, I'll show some. Yes. So Apple is definitely both. So Apple obviously started very much as a product company. Everybody's probably familiar with the story of Steve Jobs and Macs, etc. So they have lots of products, phones, iPods. You guys are all probably too young to own an iPod as well, although I do. But they have grown into the service area as well. They offer many services like cloud storage, like iTunes, things where you're paying for the use of something, but when you stop paying, you don't necessarily have access to it anymore. Now for the most important one of all, Deloitte. Do you guys think Deloitte offers products or offers services? Okay, see that. Service, Anna, Samuela, service. Very good. You guys are all definitely getting the hang of this. Deloitte is absolutely a services organization. So what we do is we offer services in 4 key areas: in consulting, audit, tax, and financial advisory. So basically, our assets are our people. What we're selling is the knowledge and the expertise in people's heads to then help a customer solve a problem. So that is, they pay for the service of us helping to solve the problem. Now, internally, the folks who work like myself, where we're helping the employees, we can have a variety of types of jobs. So I have more of a product management role. I'm not necessarily selling the product, but I'm doing a lot of what product managers might do. But overall, the company is selling a service. Okay, I think I accidentally went one over. Okay, so I'm curious, have you all, what stage are you in your journey? Have you already figured out what you want to do and know if you're going to be offering a product or service? Feel free, if you do and you know you're going to be offering a product, use the thumbs up. And if you know you're going to offer a service, maybe use the clapping emoji. Okay, I see a few. And if you don't know, feel free to use the fun, celebration emoji. Okay, I see. Okay, one product, one service. I see another product. Okay, product, service. All right, very good. Okay. Well, if you don't know what you are planning to offer, or oh, okay, sorry, I'm just looking at the chat. How about offering both? Implement both product and services. Okay, great. So if you don't know what you are going to offer, or even if you do and you kind of want to think more about it, here are some key areas that you want to think about in deciding. So the first, as we covered a lot, is what you are offering tangible, something that you can actually, sell to someone, they can touch, they can feel, or is it intangible? As we've talked about, products are tangible, whereas services are intangible. And there's some lines that blur, but we'll keep it sort of simplistic right now to understand the concepts. Another thing to think about is how much funding are you going to have access to when you start? The reason this is important is because products tend to require more money up front because you have to do a lot of research, you have to purchase raw materials, you have to go through the process of creation or development. Whereas services, because it's people, it's the knowledge in your head or the skill you bring to the table, requires a lot less money to start. Like if my skill is cleaning houses, I can easily go start a business and just clean people's houses. All I have to do is know sort of how much I want to charge for my time. But once you grow, once you're trying to scale up and become bigger, products are actually easier. Because if you think about it, all you have to do with a product is add more materials and you can make more products. So it's easy to sort of scale up, whereas services is going to require more money to scale. If I have a cleaning business, I now have to hire more cleaning folks. I have to make sure I have the infrastructure to support that, some technology to schedule everyone, some, element of managing that business. Another thing to think about is, are you trying to be consistent? Are you trying to give your customers something where it is truly the same thing every time? Or are you trying to solve a need that is going to be special for each different customer? So with product, the model for products really necessitates the ability to be consistent. That's where you get the economies of scale, the revenue, all those fancy business terms. But basically, if you're building the same thing over and over and over, it becomes much less expensive to then build the same thing over and over. Whereas with services, you're really defining what you're offering based on exactly how your customer needs that service. So it's going to be more expensive because you might have to tweak things every time you offer it. Now, the good news with services is you can vary the cost. Typically with products, people expect the same cost all the time. Whereas services, you're generally charging by how much time you spend with people. So that does help kind of cover that customization element. What sort of volume are you expecting when you start? So how much interest do you know is out there? How much quote unquote sales or consumption can you already expect when you start? So as we talked about, since services are less expensive to get up and running, if you're unsure about the demand, like there's some, but you're not sure to what level the demand is there, the service route might be a good way to go because it doesn't take as much upfront investment. So you're not going to lose as much by, trying something or putting something out there. However, if you've done your research and you know that X% of the market is definitely interested in your product and you have a good sort of price point, then making that bigger investment up front is a bit safer because at some point in time, the money you put up is going to equal and then hopefully be less than your sales. And another good thing to think about is what are your competitors doing? And it doesn't necessarily have to be a direct competitor. It could just be someone who's doing something similar. So if I were looking to start, say, a cleaning business, and there's no other cleaning businesses out there, I may look at, say, a landscaping business, because that's kind of similar. You kind of clean the yard to make it look better. So the best way is to look at what other people are doing and really understand, are they structured as a service or a product? And, are they successful in what they do? And do I want to replicate that? Okay. So now we're going to jump in specifically a little bit to product, and then I'll go into services as well. So some key principles in product management, and this is a great segue because I did hear Aziz talking a little bit about ideation. A lot of that is very important when you're deciding on what kind of a product you want to deliver. So when you think of products, you really can kind of put it into 3 buckets. You've got the discovery phase, which seems like maybe the easiest, but is really the most important piece. Because as you all very quickly mentioned, there has to be a need. There has to be a need for your product. Otherwise, like, no one's going to buy it because they don't need it. So all of that research you do up front is so important. You got to make sure you understand the need that's out there. You got to make sure you understand what other people are doing, because you might know that there's a need, but you might not be aware that there's already 2 other companies that are solving for that need. And you bringing a third product to the market may not work. People may not want to buy something, that's even slightly different from what the other 2 are offering, because they're doing a really good job of meeting the need. And then, as we talked about, you really kind of need to think about the size of the need. Are you building something that, fits a hole in the market, but it's so small, and how much upfront money and time you have to put in isn't really going to be worth it? You have to know that the size of the need is going to hopefully exceed the amount of time and energy you have to put into it. So, okay, great. You've discovered, hey, I have this unmet need and I have this amazing idea for a product and I know it's going to be successful. So the next piece is, again, it's thinking. And it's funny because you probably think the biggest part is go build the product, but really it's deciding what you want to do. Now really thinking through what that looks like. So what is your product vision? You should always have sort of a statement or 2 that says, this is what my product is. It's what it will be. It's what it's going to do. And that vision should always be in your head as you go forward. So then you'll kind of brainstorm, what are all the things that have to happen in order for me to bring this product to market? There could be things like, well, my product is great. I saw some of you say products and services. So, you could be offering a product, but in reality, there might need to be a service that goes with it. So you sell the product, but you have to sell maintenance on the product. But it may be that you don't want to offer that. You want to partner with someone else because you know that they offer it. So you want to think about all these things. You want to think about, is there a venue to market this? Are there local newspapers? Can I do television ads? Or is this more of a show and tell? I want to be able to bring my product into stores and let people touch it, feel it, etc. So you want to brainstorm all those things, prioritize, and then ultimately you're going to build a roadmap. So the roadmap is basically going to say, here's what I'm going to do, and here's exactly how I'm going to get there. And some key things you have to think about there is, okay, how are you going to build? When are you going to test? At what point do you want customers to give you feedback so you can iterate? You want to kind of plan all those phases out and make sure everybody's on the same page. And believe it or not, the last piece is developing the product. So once you're super clear on what you're going to do and why, then you get into the more detailed pieces. You're going to look at requirements definition. Hopefully you guys have heard the terms use cases. You're going to say, my product, customer wants to do X, my product does Y. You're going to create a backlog. You're going to prioritize those things. You're going to think about how much does this feature cost? How much time is it going to take? And what's the value or, the revenue that this might generate? Cannot emphasize enough, user acceptance testing. Always engaging users is so critical, whether it's technology, whether it's a product. Being able to get direct feedback from your customers is invaluable. And relative to the next one, iterate. So, historically, particularly with technology products, there was this idea of the waterfall method. Get all the requirements, build the product, and turn it over. And there's a lot of risk in doing that. It's not necessarily always bad, but if you're able to be agile, build something that is just MVP, basic version, hits all the very simple needs, and get it in front of someone. Get some feedback. Based on their feedback, slightly tweak it, get it in front of them again. You have these feedback loops, because then you won't necessarily, I don't want to say the word waste, but you might put a lot of time and effort into something and not really be on the same page as your customer. So then getting that feedback helps you be able to incorporate that quicker, respond to the demands quicker, etc. And what you'll see is the little arrow on the bottom. This process doesn't end once your product is out there. This is an ongoing process. Now, you might not be doing as much discovery and planning, but you want to get feedback from your customers. That's sort of the discovery. And then the planning is, okay, what's not meeting the needs out there? How can we improve this product to either improve the quality, make it better, improve sales, etc. And services. So now services, as we talked about, there's some similarities. Even if you just scan this, this sort of map here, there are a lot of similarities. So if you look at the first two, user-centered, everything should be about users or customers, whether you're doing a product or a service. As you guys mentioned, there has to be a need. So there has to be people out there who want to buy something from you or want to use what you are creating. So make sure you understand your user. Now with services, it's a little unique in that you want to understand their overall experience, or you want to really understand what they expect from you. With a product, it's simple, like a product should work. But with a service, there is other things to think about with expectations, like how much handholding are they looking for? You know, how much interaction do they want, etc. Co-creative. Same thing with products. You want to involve people through every step. So as you create the products, you want to ideate, you want to talk to customers, etc. Same thing with services. You want to make sure that you've talked to your customers, you want to talk to your investors, your partners, make sure everybody's sort of on the same page with the service you're going to offer. But what's really unique about services is the sequencing and the holistic. So when you think about a product, it's sort of like you build a product, you sell it. There's sort of two steps. You know, the customer buys it, they use it. Services is multiple touch points with the customer. So you may offer a service where you are engaging with the customer at many different steps. So we can use Deloitte as an example. So when Deloitte wants to sell a service, there's multiple steps that they're going to engage in. They're going to put together, they're going to find the need. So it may be through a conversation with a company or someone, and then they're going to build a proposal. So they're going to put together something that says, here's what we can do for you. Then the company says, okay, great, we do want you. So now we have to agree on what the project will be, sort of a statement of work. Now we have to do the work, and then now we have to close the project. So there's multiple steps in that journey where Deloitte is engaging with the customer. So you want to make sure that you have thought through all those steps and made sure that they are all sort of sequenced correctly. So we wouldn't want to be focusing on building the proposal before we've had the discussion, or you don't want to create a whole statement of work at the proposal point because you don't have enough information. So you really want to think through step by step by step, how is this user going to engage with me and experience my service? Evidencing. Obviously, visuals are important all the time. Visuals are important for products. You want to see prototypes. You want to sort of see what something will look like. But they're particularly important in services because, again, you're talking about potentially complex flow, a complex, multiple interactions with this customer. And sometimes things that have to follow, you're going to have a lot of dependencies. This has to happen, then this. So pictures, graphs, flow charts, anything that's visual is really critical, because then when you're having that discussion, it really helps bring that journey to life and helps, other folks really kind of digest the concept of, the service with the multiple touch points. And then holistic is somewhat unique as well with services, because with a product, again, you think about what are you making and then you give it to the consumer and they use it. Whereas with services, it's a journey. So you really have to think about the whole experience. And sometimes that includes thinking about what the customer might be doing before they get to you, or what they might be doing after they get to you. So you really want to think about what is that entire journey of the service that you're going to offer them. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with personas, but personas is a really, really good way to think about a service, because you will identify different personas for what you're offering. So for example, at Deloitte, we have partners, principals, directors. Those are the senior leaders. And a lot of what they're doing is selling to customers. And then we have, say, consultants. They're the ones delivering on the projects. So if I were to define internally an offering for those folks, I want to think through what is the life cycle or the journey of the partner, because it's going to be very different from the life cycle or journey of the consultant or manager. And then just wanted to talk about some additional things to kind of keep in mind as you are building out you're thinking about your product or service or building it up. Number one, quality management. So important, whether it's for your product or for your service. You want to make sure that you have some kind of checks and balances where you're making sure that you're delivering a quality product or service. Nothing can tank sales faster or ruin relationships or brand by, bad quality and not having those checks in place. We talked a lot about feedback, so make sure you always have some way of getting customer satisfaction, particularly, but sometimes customer satisfaction can just be yes, no, rate on 1 to 4. But you always want to monitor that, because if you have a dip in customer satisfaction for some reason, you can start to dig into what's the reason, and you may find out quality is the reason. But you also want to make sure you have some open loop, some open feedback mechanism, whether it's, in your survey, you say other things you think, whether you're holding focus groups, you want the opportunity to just talk to customers and get ideas, because that's where you're really going to be able to find those features, if it's a product, those features, things to add to the product to make it better, or a service where you might want to tweak your process or do something a little differently. Don't be afraid to fail. Guessing you guys may have heard this before. This is particularly important in the product world, because you want to get things out quickly and you want to get feedback. So, put it out there. It may be that the customer hates it and you may have to sort of shift gears, but that's great. It's great that you're finding a way for your users to tell you what they want and to hone something and to make something that's bigger and better. So this is a very hard lesson to learn. I am not very good at it, but be courageous, try things, don't be afraid to fail. Reputation is key. So I know you'll have some more conversations on marketing and other things. You want to develop a strong brand, whether it's for your product or your service. Some of the examples, we think about Apple. What's their brand? Well, their brand is innovation and design. Their brand is everything is sleek and, clean design. So, you want to make sure that you're not getting some products out there that don't still support that brand. Because if you start to dilute the brand, then customers aren't willing to pay as much. Customers start to rely on a brand. And if you aren't giving them what they want, then they'll go elsewhere. Always keep the customer in mind. Clearly, you guys already understand that, since right away you talked about customer need, identifying the need. But really keep them in mind no matter what you're doing. So yes, you want to think about them as you're developing the product. You want to think about them as you're improving, but also think about them when you're doing things like communicating your product. Make sure you're talking to the user the way the user wants to be spoken to, which leads to this one. You are not your customer. So this is a very hard lesson to learn. I fall into this all the time. As I'm working on my products, even the voice bots, like, oh yeah, this is how I would want to call. So this is how I'm going to design the bot. No, I'm not designing this for me. I'm designing it for my customer. So it may make total sense what you think, and you may be right, but you have to make sure that you're vetting it with the people who are going to buy your product and not yourself. Oh, I didn't realize that was the end. I thought this quote was really interesting relative to products and services. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be a value. So the goal really, as you all mentioned, is to offer something to someone that solves a problem. If it solves their problem, it's valuable to them. And then of course you can sell it, grow it, etc., and you will be successful. But really focus on the value of what you're offering as opposed to the success of the initiative. So I know I threw a lot at you guys. Are there questions? Is there anything else you'd like me to go back to or kind of go over again or clarify, dive deeper? You guys are all quiet. So everything I said, you already knew and you're experts, right? Okay, good question, Lawali. So can you clarify what quality checks look like? So that's really going to depend. Let me give you an example. So what I do with product management. So my product is technology. So what I would do is two things. One is quality before you, as part of the development process. So typically in technology projects, you'd have two quality checks. First, the developers who are developing the product, when they're done, there's usually a QA team that QAs everything that they've built to make sure it's ready to go in front of a customer for customer UAT. But then once I launch it, I'm going to want a periodic quality check. So I may have a team that periodically goes and tests out the bot to make sure it's still working, to make sure that it still makes sense for the need. Or, we're developing a program where we're building a chatbot. So for the skills that we build on the chatbot, we're going to create a dashboard where there will be numbers showing us what percentage of this skill is solving the need. And we're going to monitor those percentages. We're going to have a threshold and say, okay, we're comfortable as long as we're in the 75 to 90 range. Now, monitoring those on a monthly basis, hey, this one dropped to 70%, something's wrong. And then you go look at it and say, okay, what's happening? And we might go look at the questions that are being asked. Have the questions changed? And now we need to add a new answer. Now we need to change the bot. So it all depends on what you're going to do, but you always want at some point before it gets to the customer, and then even after the customer is using it, to make sure that it's still satisfying the need. Just double check, make sure it's working the way you expect it to. And then of course, customer satisfaction helps you do that as well. Other questions, thoughts? Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Abraham, for the compliment. Aziz and Michelle, I think I'm a little ahead of time, but oh, is that a question? Somebody was jumping in.
Yeah, I mean, you are, but we still have time. I think they do have questions because they are still in the phase of developing their idea. So, yeah, any question? I would say, what is that current challenge when it comes to your product and your service that you face? So, like we discussed a lot of challenges before. So, if you face any kind of challenge, we can help, and Mitchell can help answer that. You can ask the question.
Yeah, I could tell you one challenge I'm facing. And again, it's kind of related to that you're not your customer. So I'm trying to develop these voice bots. And I am sure you've all had some kind of an experience with a voice bot. And obviously the technology's been out there for a while. So people have very sort of negative experiences out in the real world. So I have to try to figure out how to change their mindset, how to build something that doesn't remind them of those experiences they have and makes them want to use the bots. It's a culture change, which is not always easy. I did see a hand up. I lost the name though. Joy, was it you?
Yeah, Joy, go ahead.
Yes, it was me.
Hello.
I think why I lowered my hand was I was failing to see how I can phrase the question. But again, about product and services, the challenge that me and my team are having currently is trying to identify what exactly to start with. Now, our venture is all about skilling. It's about skilling, but the idea we had in mind was since we have plans of offering different skills, and yet we have to start with one particular skill, and then later scale on. So currently the issue that we're having is identifying what skill exactly to teach our beneficiaries, these boys that we are planning to have, but also whatever skill now, at the end of the day, to them, it will be more like a service, but out of it again, we have to have more like a product that will help us in the sustainability line. So I don't know what you can advise us in that regard.
No, very good question. So if I understand you correctly, the initiative you're focusing on is training a group of folks to be able to do something. And those folks will ultimately do something that results in a product that will then be sold. And then that money, I'm guessing, will sort of flow back into the training. So is that sort of a correct understanding of the model?
Yes.
Okay. So two things. I would look at the training itself and assess the skills themselves, and then also look at the product itself and sort of compare those two things. So say you have your list of 5 skills. With products, what you always want to think about is, time, cost, and value. So what I would do is rank those skills. So, okay, which ones, where do they fall in terms of how much time it's going to take you to develop the training? And then how much cost is involved? There's probably not a lot of cost because you're developing the training, but the cost really is your time. So how much time is it going to take? And then how much value is there? Like how much, revenue or opportunity is there for the product? And then similarly on the product side, so you're saying, okay, I trained this skill for this product. So now when you're thinking about the product, you want to think about kind of the same things, but you'll be thinking about, how costly are the materials? How much time is it going to take to develop those materials once we train these folks? How much are people willing to pay? Because that gets to some of the value. And then you want to compare those things and kind of rank them. And where you want to land is kind of in the middle. If things are going to take a lot of time to develop, you don't want to start with that. So even if they're going to take a lot of time, but a lot of value, that should be something that you look sort of for the long term. Where you want to be ideally is low time, high value. That's the best place to be. But if you're sort of congregating in the middle, that's okay. But you want to be able to quickly train someone and let them quickly get a product out, start generating money, and then start investing that in some of the longer ones for a more sustainable model. Does that make sense, or is that helpful?
Yes, it makes a lot of sense. But then I get another question. Like we were looking at one particular skill that is beekeeping. Now, the issue that when we do the research, we find that somehow the product that will come out of it has more value when you look at it at more value than the skill we shall offer. Because yes, there is market for honey if you're going to have honey at the end of the day as a product. But then we are looking now, yes, these boys will have that skill for beekeeping, but somehow the opportunities available for them, let's say, to move out of our let's say our initiative, to move out and maybe be under another organization or something like that, is a bit low. So we are failing to find a balance between, a balance between the two and find a leveled ground. Where should we stand?
No, that's interesting because the end product you're looking at could be either an end product or really a service, because you're teaching someone to do something where they could go offer that service to someone else. And really, ultimately, your end product is saving the world, because the world needs bees. So that's very intangible and difficult to measure. So I think what you have to do is, instead of assigning physical numbers, almost create like I'm blanking on the word, sort of a model by which you're going to assess the value. So you could have sort of 3 elements within the model where you're looking at monetary value, world impact, climate change value, and, ability for the trainees to generate additional revenue. So you might be defining your value a little differently. So then from those 3, you can average it out and say, okay, this is high, this is medium, this is low. So they're more intangible things that you can't quantify, but you could set based on your mission. So again, having that idea of what is it you want to do. So based on the mission, how well does the end result align with that mission? Is it highly connected, somewhat connected, etc.? Is that helpful?
I did that. Yes, very helpful. Thank you so much.
Sure, no problem. Sounds fascinating. I don't think I would ever have the courage to be a beekeeper. So very interesting.
Yeah, Batul, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Hello. So, yeah, I'm not sure how similar my question is to Joy's, but the thing is, because you said for the product we need to have like bigger upfront investment or bigger time, and I think this is the challenge that we are facing. But if we don't have a lot of time, or sorry, a lot of capital or a lot of investment, but still our value is in the product, what do you advise us to do? Should we like should we like have lower standards for our product, or should we try exploring other services to start with, then we can move to our product? Maybe you can give us a little bit of insight.
Yeah, can you tell me a little bit more about your product or what you're looking to do?
Yeah, so we are planning to design an aerobic digester. It's a digester that you feed it waste, and then it gives you biogas and liquid fertilizer. Yeah.
Wow, very cool, very cool. I'm trying to compost, and it's very difficult in a big city like Chicago. Yeah, so a couple things. I mean, one, I would say, however you can, try to get upfront investment. So, if you're able to create a really simplistic prototype, or be able to create that very compelling vision and try to find more investors, whether you're doing that grassroots through, say, GoFundMe, things like that, trying to get whatever the minimum amount of funding you need to be able to create something that is going to have some use. So really, it's balancing you don't need to boil the ocean. You just need to build something that has some use to prove the value. Because once you prove value, then the investments and things will start to come in. So what is sort of that minimum version that will do the thing you want it to do? Because you don't want to sacrifice quality. So you want it to do what you want to do, and you want it to have a good experience. But you want to think about all of your features. Are some of these really bells and whistles that aren't needed up front? Are what's sort of truly critical? Like, this product cannot live without it. That's that term MVP, minimum viable product. So what's the absolute minimum your product needs? What's the absolute minimum funding that I need to get this out there? And try to make those fit, and then try to, market, get some people using it, get customer testimonials, so that as you can start to show more added value, then hopefully the funding will start to come, and then you can continue to improve your product. Is that helpful?
Yes, very helpful. Thank you.
But your idea of a service is interesting too, because say you can get enough funding to create one, but or you don't have the funding to like mass produce, but you could create one or two. You could start it as a service where maybe you, I don't know, lend it half a day to, I'm just making this up, apologies if this is not relevant, but maybe you have two, and the service is you lend it to one farm for 4 hours and another farm for 4 hours, so that you're at least getting that testimonial proving the value, and have that as a way of raising capital as well. Again, I'm not as familiar with how the product might work, but that's that thinking of, could you offer it as a service? Do you only have enough money to build a couple, and really you're just going to manage people using it to then raise some more money to then ultimately convert it to a product that is self-consuming?
Yes, I get it. To have this further thinking about it. Yes. Thank you a lot.
Sure. This is fun. I love hearing about all the great ideas you guys have.
Yeah, Lucian, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I have a question about culture changing. First of all, my venture is to develop a mobile application to help people in my community to have quick access to medicine products and blood bags. So it will be a mobile application, as I said. And one thing we notice, we remark is that it will be, a new project for people, for our community. In Africa, the technology is not the things which is accessible or
okay.
Yeah, it's very new. So we talk about culture changing. I want to ask, what are your strategy or some of methods you are using in order to help people or for culture changing?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Culture change is very difficult. As you can imagine, getting someone to do something differently is not easy. Some things to keep in mind. One, as we talked a little bit about, is in the messaging. So if you're trying to sell someone something that they're not used to, the very first question they're going to ask is, what's in it for me? So you have to be able to have that value proposition up front and center, and it has to be something where they can recognize the value. So everything should be framed as, we can do this for you. It's not about your product. It's about that solving that need and helping them. Another thing that one of the things I'm doing in the culture shift specifically to what I'm working on is I'm focusing on new hires. So what that means is I am really honing in on the group that is most likely to change. So, folks like myself who are a bit older and even Deloitte employees older than me, getting us to do things differently, like talk to a chatbot to solve my problem, probably a 50-50 chance, maybe less for some of our partners. But the new folks coming in, the younger generation, is so used to this. It's part of their lives. So what I'm focusing on is doubling down. Most of my efforts, my communication, my marketing, my accessibility is focusing on that audience, because I know the conversion rate to get them to change is much higher. So again, I don't know as much about your business, but can you think about your customers? And this will come in a lot of the marketing side, but like segmenting your customers and figuring out, who do you think is the most likely to use this, and put your resources into that. Because then, as we talked about in the other example, as you can start to prove value, as people can see what it can do for them, then it's going to grow. Then the culture shift will sort of catch on if you've got these great testimonials, these great examples, etc. Does that kind of make sense? Does that help?
Yeah, very helpful.
Yeah, and I don't know if, another option is always partnership. That's another thing to look at, because you mentioned the technology. So I don't know if there's some way to find a partnership since you're kind of in the healthcare space? Is there another healthcare organization or app that already is well known? You know, you can sort of piggyback off of their brand. That's another way. Or is there another technology or format for delivery that you could piggyback on? So thinking about partnerships is really important as well.
Thank you.
Sure. So I think we're just about at time. Did anybody else have one more question that I'm happy
Yeah,
to?
we can take one last question in case they have. Silence means no, so we'll take it as a no.
Right.
All right. Yeah. So yeah, any concluding remarks, Michelle, if you wanna give them, and then I'll thank you.
No, I mean, thank you guys for having me. Hearing about the amazing things you guys are doing is so inspirational. I mean, you guys are literally here to change the world, and that is fantastic. So, my advice is, you know, again, be courageous, be brave, get out there and do things. Don't be afraid to fail. You know, take all these learnings, apply them, be agile, be willing to learn and improve, and good luck in everything you guys are doing. I look forward to seeing, hearing more about all your successes.
All right, thank you so very much, Michelle, for joining us again on the behalf of Resolution Project, on the behalf of Center for Awareness Training and Development. It's always great to have you, and we will have you many more time in the future. Thank you for all the efforts. Your contribution means a lot to us. Thank you very much, and I hope you had a good day ahead.
Thank you all. I have lots of calls, so I will get to those.
Sure.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
great day ahead. All right, so thank you very much, everyone. So the discussion we had is very powerful, and remember, these are the dots, and we really need to connect these dots: the product, the service development, the skills, the ideation. Now this is very important, how we connect these dots, because success comes by connecting the dots. So we will be sharing a lot more dots tomorrow, day after, and on the fourth day. And I repeat again, give these 4 days to yourself. This is a huge investment, right? It's a huge investment, and this will give back to you in so many ways. Not only the way you create an impact, not only the way you will build your venture, but in so many other ways where you can scale up and you can create a bigger impact. So with this, we are done with the day one. We're only left with the today's feedback. In case if any one of you have not marked attendance, I can share the link. I think it's already there. Um, I'll share the link as well, but I would really like to hear from most of you, all of you. You can comment in the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and you can see how did you find day one. Did you had a great learning, and what was the most exciting part of the day? Yeah, Anna, go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, hi.
Yeah, so it was a worthwhile session. I have learned a lot, but what was most interesting about the first day that uh, our challenges are not unique to us. So I was wondering, is it just me with issues with my venture, or are people also having issues, and how are they going about it? So I realized, we have related problems, but we are the solution makers at the same time. So it was an eye-opening session for me. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
And of course, and I'm glad you are brave to accept that there are gaps. The first thing in improvement and growth is when you feel that yes, there is a gap, there is a lag, and once you do that, you build on it, and this helps you a lot. All right, thank you very much those who are commenting. Anyone else who would like to speak to us? Yes, you can. This help us a lot. Simula, go ahead.
Okay, so day one has been very, very great. I've learned a lot, especially about the ideation process. I didn't even have an idea that there was a process called ideation. And also about product and service. I've learned about what goes into the preparation stages before a product comes out. And I know this will help me eventually and help me put my venture on a larger scale. So I'm looking forward to the other days.
All right, awesome. Thank you so very much. This means a lot. Thank you those who are commenting. Anyone else who would like to share any great learning of the day, and you think this can help you, what you learned today in making your venture a great one? So any other one who would like to comment? We really would like to hear. We do share our thoughts, our experience, but we would also like to hear you. How did you learn and what was the most exciting part? Yep, go ahead. Yeah, Hannah, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm back.
No, it's okay.
One recommendation. So we didn't have a formal introduction, and I realized people have different interesting ventures. We were just mentioning them here and there when we were talking about challenges. It's my prayer that for tomorrow's session, as we start, people can tell us about their ventures. I really would love to hear about people's ideas, the challenges they are going to solve. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's absolutely makes sense. Since we have very short time, that's why we try to be more on the topics to give you more and more knowledge. But tomorrow early morning, once we join, so of course we can keep some time in order to interact with each other. So thank you very much for the suggestion. All right, any other, we have few minutes, anything you want to share? Thora, thank you very much. Okay, let's see. I have to drop now. Okay, fine. Thank you for the feedback. All right, Doris, go ahead.
Oh, so my feedback is I like the fact that the session was interactive. You didn't just have PowerPoints, you engaged us. And then your feedback was based on what you were commenting and the challenges that you are going through. And of course, again, the highlight for this presentation, especially for me, was the ideation process, especially idea refinement and development, because I've seen a number of us actually skip that. And some of the problems that we're actually coming across is because we skipped this particular phase. And now we have to reflect and go back to the drawing board and actually go through this process again. So thank you for that.
Yeah, no, of course, absolutely, of course. Yeah, yeah, Florence, go ahead.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
There is one thing I've learned. Actually, I didn't know about it. For our venture, actually, we are struggling to see that it will become successful. But today I've learned that we shouldn't focus more of the success only, but we should also focus on what value are we adding, either to a community or anywhere we are doing our business from. So we are focusing more of the success and we're forgetting about the value we are adding.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a powerful learning, and this would help us, create a great brand reputation in the market. So of course, this matters a lot. Any final comments? Anyone who would like to share? All right, no problem. Any question till now, any confusion before I close the day and share what we will be having tomorrow? So any question, any confusion so far? Anything you are confused about, you want to ask, let me know. I can answer. All right. Okay, I'm excited to be a part of this day one. Anyone to add a terrible network? Okay, no problem. So try. I know there is a problem with the network, but it's always good to find a place where we have strong connectivity. So that help us a lot. All right. So thank you very much, everyone, for the day. Again, today is just the foundational discussion. So we gave you everything that is very foundational, that is very basic and very essential. The ideation, the entrepreneurial skills, the product and service development, and the discussions we had. So this is just the baseline. This is just the beginning where we wanted to introduce you to the word of an enterprise development. Now, tomorrow, we will be going to lean canvas model, how you can create a greater impact on the people. So we'll be discussing that model, and then we have business model canvas, how you can design a business model for your enterprise that covers a lot of the things when it comes to the business. Then we will have stakeholders and market analysis, how you can do the stakeholder analysis and how you can do market assessments. So these are some of the important tools that we will be discussing tomorrow for the day. Thank you very much on the behalf of Mitchell, on the behalf of Resolution, on the behalf of CATAID, Center for Awareness, Training and Development. Thank you very much for your feedback, for your participation, for asking questions, for being so active during the entire session. That really made us very happy. And we want you tomorrow to come up with questions. We want you to come up with the challenges you face, and we want you to ask us a lot of questions so that we help you during these 4 days, get a lot of answers to your questions. So thank you once again. Have a great day, have a great evening, or have a very great night ahead. And I will see you all tomorrow. In case if Mitchell want to add anything, you can. Otherwise, we can see each other tomorrow.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Aziz, and thank you everyone who joined. It was wonderful to see you all.
Yeah, see you tomorrow, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.